Stocks under pressure here this morning as we get going into a brand new week, which is going to be an interesting one that'll be capped off, remember, coming up on Friday with a very key non-farm payrolls jobs number, along with a speech from Fed Chair Powell. We'll get them both on Friday this week. We're hearing the possibility of a TikTok deal as it's on screen right now. TikTok could be sold by the end of the week. Saturday going to be the deadline. So if that doesn't happen, Kevin O'Leary out on the weekend saying that there could and should, and he's expecting anyways, an extension be applied to that deal. Meanwhile, everything downside this morning ahead of what's to come tomorrow. Tariffs coming into effect right across the board. I mean, automakers specifically, we'll touch on that coming up, but right across the board, a big day to come tomorrow. How will the market react today? Right now, it's sell first, ask questions later, right across the board. Here's Tesla right now, down 6% in the pre-market, 247 coming into play here. We're also expecting deliveries coming up at some point over the next couple of days for Tesla. It's going to be an interesting week for that one.
Widely expected to be negative year over year, Brendo, and not just like a slight miss, but like a marked miss here. So we'll have to wait. We are expecting those deliveries on Wednesday. Hopefully, you know how Tesla is. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Bitcoin under pressure. Apple also under pressure as it's getting fined by France for increasing user privacy, apparently. Nvidia as well, Brendo, down 4% here on worries that demand may not be what it seems. Palantir, Moderna, and the entire biotech sector down aggressively here. Moderna's down 10.25% on the back of a resignation by an individual at the Human and Health Services, Brenda, who fast-tracked a lot of these biologics, and so that's not being viewed positively here.
I zoomed out on Moderna just for fun this morning, and we've officially given back the entire pandemic move. You got to go back to March of 2020. When it started to find some levels today, back to 26, here it is, 27, 28 right now on a bounce, but 26, 26.50 was trying to hold early on this morning. 10% right now. It was down way more than that. So strap in. It's going to be an exciting couple of days. It's going to be an exciting week, I think, ahead of, remember, as I mentioned, key jobs data coming up this Friday. Morning, guys.
Yeah, good morning. It's easier to be like, what isn't down? Everything. Gold, VIX, TLT, obviously. I mean, treasuries, the 20-year. XPeng, oddly enough. Go figure that one.
XPeng is up?
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but, just going through the core board of the things that we're not getting absolutely blissed to the downside. Moderna is the interesting one. Because, like, that trend is distinct. Look, obviously, it doesn't seem that good, but we've seen the story before where it's like panic at the open, so many things are down so far, and then the first thing that happens at 9:30 is you get a bit of a relief rally. It is always a relief when Randy comes early. There he is.
I said to Randy that he might be getting his Rivian down here. It's only 1190 right now.
Maybe.
Yeah, gold up 1.4%. So this is the name that just keeps on trucking, man. I mean, wow. Nice move up there for gold as we get worried about all of these economies. How was your weekend? I heard it was crazy weather. We didn't. Yeah, we weren't able to play.
No power.
Yeah, no power. Yeah, I know. Oh, no power. Oh, for how long?
We had a generator.
Yeah.
You lost power too? My in-laws lost power.
Yeah, anybody up north lost power.
Yeah. Not fun.
No, not
8 hours? Oh, okay.
8 hours. They were.
What day was that at?
Most of Saturday night.
Mike.
Most of Saturday and into Sunday.
Yeah.
Inch of ice, trees down. North of us was terrible. Lots of damage, lots of destruction. So yeah, not fun. Mother Nature wasn't.
As soon as you think you're out of it, you're right back.
Yeah. So it was an interesting weekend, just helping people out and trying to stay safe. That's what it is. Generators are handy.
Yeah.
You live up north, you gotta have it, man. Gotta have it.
Thanks, Randy. Yeah, some bad weather north of the city this weekend.
Oh, we got lucky.
I think it's gonna get better. It's raining all week. So we'll see. What was this morning's weather?
Oh, it was like almost 10 degrees. It was nice.
Yeah. It's a little bit warmer. Still, wet, damp, foggy, and what?
The fog was absurd this morning when I got up. But
Banana Man is here. Yeah, that's Randy there for sure. I mean, we're gonna talk about all these stories. We got Michael Noss coming up soon as well. I mean, Tesla down 6% today. Had a nice move up to that $300 marker. It got to 290 and change. Now back down to 250 again as that comes back in. AMD has broke the Hyundai mark there to the downside here. So now it's just a little bit back over, but it's right there at $100. So yeah, lots of happening, man. I mean, we were talking about it being Liberation Day there on Wednesday. And I said it's more like liquidation day because, you know, if you're on sort of any kind of margin, maybe you'd be liquidated by some point here. But hopefully you're not, as the Nasdaq's had a nice little battle back. I mean, 19.1 to 19.2. You know, we'll take that so far. Down 1.3%. I don't know about you, but I still think I'm looking short. So I'm not going to be picking up any longs early, that's for sure. Although there could be some bottoms in. Let's make sure that they are and, you know, be patient today for sure. So I don't know. Yeah, not good here for the long term. But hopefully liquidation day does not happen too badly.
I don't know if it'll be that bad. If you like, a lot of it's priced in. It's the uncertainty that we're gonna get in. There were a couple of hints. Like Trump said, oh, it could be 15 countries. Maybe that's going to be considered a little bit light. But that's not until Wednesday. The other thing to remember, we had the big IPO last week with CoreWeave. The $40 issue price going to come into play as well for that stock. So, yeah, I mean. You only usually, I feel like you watch these things for a couple of days initially, and then they start to settle down. Volume-wise, it's the open on it. I don't expect a ton of volume out of them today, but let's only look at Friday's trade. It closed exactly at the issue price at $40. You don't have lots of levels to work with a recent IPO, but the 40 is an obvious spot. If it gets in there, I'd initially look fade on CoreWeave. Sentiment, throw that in there. Evaluation, throw that in there. It's hard not to look at that price as a bit of a short today. Don't expect the volume to hold up for the whole week, but at least today it should be good enough.
All right, let's, as I said, we do have Michael Noss coming through. We were talking to him last week. Let's see if any of his ideas have changed here as things are getting a little bit worse for us on the
you know what's also worse?
On that front. The NCAA tournament being all number one seeds. Is that what you were going to say?
Well, it's not exciting.
No, it's not.
But obviously, Michigan State. I didn't expect Michigan State to win because I thought Auburn was legit. So it was always going to be a tough game.
Was it close? I didn't even see. I don't know. I really didn't see.
Okay, so like the final, you know when the final score is like single digits, but it wasn't close?
Oh, okay. So they lost by 8 or 9?
Yeah, but
it was never.
They were never really, like, Auburn was in control the entire game.
Okay.
Auburn looks absolutely legit. Duke looks really legit.
I mean,
but you just want to see some,
this is what's happening with the transfer, the NIL, the transfer.
Yeah, the top
all the best
MSU
players.
stayed out of the portal.
Right.
That's the cool things about the Spartans. They stayed out of the portal, and they had a chance to be a Final Four team without actually just buying all the talent, which would have been cool, but it didn't happen. So I'm sure Duke will end up winning like everyone expects.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do?
Seems like they're blowing everybody out.
They're sick.
All right, Palantir over $80. So you said some of the Chinese names are green. I don't know.
Well, XPeng only. I don't know about anything else.
Okay, yeah, I saw FXI. Some of the, XOM's had a great run up to one. Like, I'm just thinking about names that we could possibly fade here. Like XOM about 117 on the daily. This is the one chart that really looks like it started to break out from 112, but maybe that stopped, although a lot of people are thinking that maybe we can get into the mid 120s or low 120s, I guess. Looks like that's now had 4 straight down days and looking to be flat here today. This could be something that I want to pick up on some weakness down into 116.50 or so. So, oh man, there's going to be a fun day. I think it's going to be another week where I don't know. Lots of opportunity. I don't really have too much written down right now. Like, I'm waiting to see if there's going to be any dramatic moves here. I know I want to be short, just a matter of trying to find out which ones. Is Intel below 20 yet? Probably not. That was too much of a run. Yeah, 22, 23 for Intel. So yeah, okay. Well, let's go back over the desk and get this show started. 22.
Going around here this morning, ARM down big time as well. It's trying to bounce right now, 3.25% though. But I mean, there was reports that this one could be a little bit better off on the simple fact that there was forecasts of higher demand for data center CPUs specifically. So we're trying to get back above 104 and hold right now for ARM. So worth keeping an eye on that. You mentioned Bitcoin early on. Michael Saylor was out there buying again last week. I think it was 20 they picked up, 20 Bitcoin. Just over $1 billion worth going back into their coffers. So 280 right now down 3% as well for MicroStrategy.
Yeah, and I was reading a really interesting article this morning about the technical look, the technical analysis look on Bitcoin, Brendo, and we could be experiencing the death cross here, which is essentially when the 50 simple moving average crosses below the 20 exponential moving average, and that previously has resulted in short-term sell-offs. Obviously, we've rallied to make new highs since then, but a lot of market commentators, Brendo, talking about that $80,000 bottom getting breached, possibly even working down to 73,000 here. Cowen highlighting 73,000 as a critical support level.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the sentiment and the talk is pretty negative and cautious at this point. I mean, Sean, you just showed gold, amazing once again today, back to all-time highs. Bitcoin, those types of instruments, going to be in trouble.
Yeah, the 70. It seems almost inevitable that we're going to see the top of that range in the Bitcoin. It just seems like we're going to get that 73 at least for me. That's what I'm eyeballing. I don't think this, like, I'm sitting it out in terms of buying any dips on BTC until we get a real test of that prior high. They trend down. Like, we're either this is the range and we eventually get out of the winter or whatever you want to call it and break back above the 90 and hold above the prior support level, or we get that test down. It just feels like lower highs, retest of that 73, 74. That's the thing about pullbacks and corrections. Sometimes it requires a heck of a lot of patience. You can buy 1 quarter and be waiting 2 quarters before you like it again. And that's, I think, a reality for BTC. The thing I'm looking at today, though, is Mara, because Mara is right at that bottom. And we talk about the weakness. Oh, Mara, it just broke 52-week low, that $12 level just got taken out, and it's pretty much right there, $11.94, right underneath it. I think you give it to about like $12.10, but at the open, it's down 4.5%, yet it's something which is right at the precipice. So there's kind of gap under where if it's going to be follow through, there can be a lot of follow through. So that's worth taking a couple of shots at today. Even if it holds the open, if it breaks it later in the day, it's still the same thing. Last time I checked, we like some flat bottom breaks, Mara.
Oh, yeah. Mara underneath there is looking like a problem. I mean, underneath that $12. That was that area that we were all talking about before, is like, if you break it, then where are you getting out? Because there's been a lot of support underneath that or around that area. We'll check about underneath. I was just going to look at Bitcoin itself. So I actually wrote down short right now, 47.50. I don't know if we can get back up there. Right now, down 1.7%. I mean, I'm okay with where Bitcoin is right now. I was just looking and thinking to myself, if we can get back up to sort of where we closed on Friday. Remember, we had the whole weekend to go through. So, it hasn't moved that dramatically, considering that, we've been open for 3 days here. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, now coming in Monday. So we're going to wait to see nice little bump up. I think we can start shorting around the 200 period, which is 47, but I'm going to wait for 47.50. Again, we still have 45 minutes before the market opens, but I think we want to go short on crypto. And I mean, until the Nasdaq really does have a nice return here, I think it's a short. And then I was going to say, I've written down here 47.50 to 48. Like up into here, $48 is sort of where that move happened back in on Friday, right on the middle of the day. We stopped around $48. You can go back a little bit there. 48 comes into play again there. So $48 seems to be like 84,000, maybe a little bit higher than that. So let's wait to see what winds up happening around $85,000 for Bitcoin. But for me, I think I'm already writing it down. I'm already going to be short here. But I'd like to see it get back. It's a nice little move. I mean, we were just at 46.50. We've just made up 50 cents, get back to 47. If we can climb just a little bit more, then I like the short ahead of where we were on Friday for IBIT. So yeah, for me, crypto continues to be one of the stories. And it's not like it's just hitting Bitcoin. I mean, some of these other names, Michael has brought to you some interesting crypto names in the past, and maybe he's invested in those coins or not. Still, right now, I don't think so.
I don't think Farcoin's doing too well.
No, but even the ones that we thought would do well there, Ripple, XRP, right? Down 15%. That's XRP. Solana down 13%. This is just over the last 7 days. It's been a bad week. It's like 124 right now. Cardano, 64 cents. If you invested, I saw this, if you invested something like 10 grand in Ethereum 3 years ago, you'd have 6 grand now. So it's down 40% over the last 3 years is Ethereum. So just be very, very careful there. We had Satya on our show, really preferred it. It's getting crushed, like well worse than all markets you can think of Ethereum. And that's not great. I mean, I still think there's going to be one coin that rule them all, and I think that's going to be BTC. But at the end of the day right now, we got to have this market settle down a little bit. What's up, Fabian, right over there? So how was your weekend, Fabian? Good. Okay, good. Get some thumbs up there. There it is. Okay, good. All right, we have Michael waiting in the wings. Let's go find out what he thinks about this this upcoming week and some possible trade ideas.
39 cents, Michael Noss. That's
Farcoin?
That's where Farcoin is sitting at 7:45 on Monday morning. It's 39.5 cents. I mean,
you have to replace the ticker here with just the Farcoin price over and over again, so everyone can know the market sentiment.
What was it, like 274 was the high? Anyway,
Yeah.
this segment brought to you by no, it's not. How was your weekend? First of all, good to see you.
Good. I spent most of it in bed. The daycare plague is coming around again, but gave me some time to look at some charts, so I'll take it.
Well, good that you're feeling well enough to join us this morning. Lots of people heading, maybe for the sidelines in the near term here. So you brought a couple of ideas on the reversion side of things, maybe a few things that have been extended or a little overextended that we can be looking at.
Yeah, and I get this question kind of all the time about what I do in scarier markets like this. And I think shorter term trading, even from a swing side of things, makes a lot of sense. And revision to the mean, buying dips, that also makes sense as well. So the first slide I have is just the equity curve of the two strategies that I'm going to go over. So this is, from the year 2000. Yeah, year 2000. So 25 years of data here. You can see it's not straight up in a line, right? Buying things that are dipping in a market that is dipping can hurt, right? So, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to put risk on when it makes sense to put risk on. So if the SPY is going to break this 550 low that everyone's watching and we're going to sell off a little bit, some of these might trigger. We're always trying to, with revision to the mean, bid under the market. Look for something that's a little bit overextended to the downside. Try to bid on that a little bit lower. But you can see overall ends up doing pretty well if you're buying the dip. So the first chart I have is just kind of a sample trade of what we're looking for. This was FMCC in March, and this is a weekly chart. So there's two strategies here. One is just looking for names that are really overdone to the downside. This one's a little bit more of a pullback name. So the reason I like this one a lot in this market is it's looking for things that are very strong and then pulling back there. So you're getting that relative strength component because you're getting names that are popping up. So you'll see a lot of pharmaceutical names and therapeutics and things like that that are actually showing relative strength, and then you're buying the dip on those. And then the main thing I want to note by this strategy is you're out within a week. So regardless of what happens, we use what's called a time stop, which means next Monday, we are going to be out of these positions, just period. So what we end up doing is we spend a lot of our time in cash, and that's what I think is going to be the thing that's going to make the most amount of sense and make the most amount of money over this kind of choppy period, which again, I've been saying could last for the entire year. So we're buying dips, we're selling rips, and then we're getting out and we're spending a lot of time here in cash, as opposed to trend following where you have to let the trades develop a little longer. When we're buying these dips, again, we want them to bounce pretty quickly, or we should definitely be out. So just that's the idea behind it. So just a couple names here. This AEVA. So what happens is I run the systems at the end of the weekend. I've got that 30 years of data that if these scenarios are held, I should look to take the trade, but I'm also a technician. So I like to go through everything that it outputs and just put kind of my eye on it and say, does where the system thinks is a good buy, does that actually make sense? So the purple line is just where the system said, hey, based off the algorithm, this is the entry price at about 550. And then I zoom out and I take a look at them. And here in this case, for AEVA, which is a technologies company, it makes perfect sense because you had this little breakout that happened last week. Look at the relative strength of this name from $2.40 all the way up to $7 in pretty much a straight line. So if we get a pullback, it comes back down to that breakout area, holds that area. I know this is a setup that Neil really likes a lot as well. Holds the area where it breaks out, and we see some support happening there. That's a pretty interesting dip buy on something that's really, really strong in a weak market. Another one here is a therapeutics company. It's SLNO. And the same kind of thing. We had a really long sideways consolidation for over a year. We had a gap above that a couple days ago, and that's about $61 or so a share. Again, in all of these cases, we need the instrument to come down a bit. Again, we're looking to buy under the market just to play the little ebbs and flows that we're seeing here. So it's about 61 bucks. That actually lines up with the high of this breakout bar. Again, it's not looking for these in particular. It's just looking for mean reversion from a certain kind of ATR distance for nerds out there. But SLNO looks interesting at that 61. Last but not least, this isn't one that has been strong, but it's just another system that's looking for names that are really overextended. The reason I like this with AVGO is it's actually doing really well in comparison to like AMD or some of these other names. And it's coming all the way into a pretty important area, which is about 160 or so a share. You can see that's where it bounced before it had that nice gap that got us into new highs, pulling back into that zone. So just a couple names if you're trying to put money to work. Again, I think this is one of those markets where you look at these dips as opportunities to potentially buy names that you like, but then don't get greedy with the profits, because it seems like every time we get a little bit of a pop-up, that pop-up is faded. So I'm just staying active. I'm just kind of keeping myself alive until eventually all of this craziness is over and we can start to have trends again.
It's an important point in that those pops get faded, and they typically get faded maybe before you even expect them to. So it is, very, very smart to have things on a tight leash, for lack of a better term. Even if you do catch one at a good level, get in the money quickly, take profits when you have them. Because one thing, if there's anything that's for certain around here these days, nothing that we've expected to happen over the past is going to happen the way it was.
Yeah, and that's why I have a time stop on them, and not a lot of people use those. I've heard them called shot clocks and everything as well. But yeah, we're basically through the testing, through the many years of testing, I realized that you get about a week on moves like this. And when the dip happens, you have about 1 week of time, 2 weeks seems to be okay. Any more than that, you're kind of fighting an overall trend, because we are buying things as they're selling off. So I think in that environment, in a high volatility environment, it does make sense to put that kind of time limit on yourself, even if you're only going to do it on things that you're down on. That's another popular thing. If I'm down on the trade for 3 or 4 days, then I'll get out. But yeah, having that short time limit, I think in this market is really saving us, because you're right. One day everything looks amazing, and then the next day it's just right back down in the dumps.
Great stuff. Michael Nass, hope you feel better. We'll see you again later on.
Talk to you then.
Thank you very much, Michael. The other thing about kind of having a shot clock on it, it's a reminder that you are in a downward trend if you're trying to take any longs. And that kind of brought me to something, because I saw something on AVGO, and I'm not saying Amazon's going to do this, but just observing a pattern here. Because Broadcom, the last 3 days of the week, like, look at it go sideways. We were noting this at the beginning, I think on Monday last week, or at least early in the week, how sideways and consolidative this was. And then when it broke, it was just, straight trend down for a few days. And that's why I'm looking at Amazon. Now, this isn't the same thing as sideways, but it's still a big support level that you're possibly taking out right today, like consolidation. And when you're in a trend and you break a consolidation with the trend, you just, I don't know, I think you favor that direction for a few days, as long as it's underneath 190. So Amazon's on my list today just because of that reason alone. And don't get me wrong, like, if it gets back above 190, I don't want to fight it. But as long as you hold underneath that prior support, Michael talked about dip buying in prior resistance turning into support. Well, in a downward trending market, the opposite is also true. Like, you want to short in front of the prior levels that held. So Amazon on my list because of that. I think Broadcom showed an example last week of something which broke a support level, and then you could have just been shorted for like 3 days in a row after that, possibly 4 with the market again today.
Crypto's ripping right now, so good move for crypto. It's going to be the #1 name on the sticky note today. Is going to be IBIT. Nice rip. Right, we were just talking about it at 46.90 before we went over there. Now 47.20. So nice little move to the high side there for IBIT. I mean, I want to short top pops, But this is getting better, so it's getting closer to a much better trade to get short. So we'll look for that. 47.50 is where we're starting. I actually have an offer right now at 47.40 right here to get in front of that, and that's where we went into yesterday, Friday, 47.50, 47.60. So if we can get here to 47.40, we're getting close. Could be our first trade on the board. I want to thank Michael Noss for coming through again. And yeah, short-term time frame trading, if that's what you're all about, you found the right spot, because we'll be in and out of many different names and different plays there today. So far, so good. All right, let's go over and see what's been upgraded and downgraded at the board with Adara.
Celsius here getting some energy to the upside with an upgrade from Truist Securities, $45 price target. We have Goodyear getting upgraded by Deutsche Bank. PNC with an upgrade from HSBC Securities, though it's trading a little bit lower today. So is Wingstop, the other upgrade of the day here from Jefferies Financial with a $270 price target. Wingstop, I believe, was on the upgrade side of things last week as well, so keep an eye on this one. Then we have USS, or United States Steel, X the ticker for this one, getting downgraded here by BMO Capital Markets. This one was on watch last week as well, apparently still in talks with Nippon Steel. ChargePoint getting downgraded by Evercore ISI. We have Scotiabank with a BofA Securities downgraded, and last but not least, Barclays downgrading Canada Goose. Currently here, trading about 6% lower. Back to you.
Celsius is the disappointing one, because that was the stock that was really set for a breakout. And maybe it's not that far away from breaking it out at 36, but look on the daily chart, you had the gap, the earnings gap, hold to 50, runs right to the 200 period and just hugs it underneath 36 bucks all week last week. Absolutely primed to break it out above that level. I think it's still on watch for that. Obviously today, it's up 1%. So it's not like it's bleeding or anything. It bled on Friday, really. Had a bad day on Friday. But I think this one's set up for a little bit of a break, Celsius. And you know, it's about the short float here to a certain extent, 19% short float. So it's definitely got some legs underneath it if it can start going. But it needs to break out that local high from last week. It's not exactly 36 bucks, but yeah, that was one that looked like it was all the world going to do it most days last week. And sellers still here at 36 for Celsius. I think you put an alert on there. It gets above that with that short float. Certainly going to be worth a shot. Unfortunately, with the market down, not looking like it's going to be today.
I was going to say Wingstop here. Yeah, we were downside. They're pretty good for them. I just wanted to see what their PE was. It's down near the bottom. I mean, many of these names are obviously near lows here. So here's Wingstop. Just want to say, like, it's down, bouncing off this 211 area. If it's a decent PE, yeah, see, it's still high. So 57. So some of these names are going to get hit, right, on this kind of a move down when, you know, people are looking for quality, and a 57 PE is not that. So I think Wingstop there today, although it's nicely upgraded, so there's nothing wrong with the upgrade, up 0.34, but that might be a good fade as well until we get that PE a little more under control. 247, 248, like, I don't think we're going to rip up to there right now today. It's only at 224, but this little level right there, that seems like a high to me, 237, 238. So if Wingstop on this gets the feels back into it, I still like a short until you sort of solve this little area there, but a nice little bottom there, 204, nice rebound there for Wingstop. I feel like this upgrade may just be trying to get it back into this 230, 240 area, so I like the short there. I mean, trend, right? Earnings, probably earnings. So yeah, it hasn't been a great little move there for Wingstop, but back to the upside right now. Yeah, should be an interesting day. I mean, I know we keep saying that, but there's so many names, like the Nasdaq now only down 1.23. Maybe it's going to battle back. Maybe it's not. Lots of opportunity there. I'm happy that Bitcoin's making that move back. Hopefully we can get that short. That'll be our first one. But yeah, there is still a shot. There's still a shot. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I should go over to Polymarket or whatever right now and find out what are the chances that the S&P 500 gets back to all-time highs at some point this year. I know there still are people that are pretty positive about it. I don't know. We're down, what are we down, 8% or something right now?
Apple could get green before the open.
Yeah, I mean, the market was down. Go ahead, yeah.
No, I was going to say, like, Apple's only down 0.4% here. Like, if you're looking at, we were talking about, like, what is up, what is down, and there wasn't a heck of a lot that was up today. But Apple kind of doing its best here to try to go green. A lot of times you try to play, like, the catch-up game, like, everything's down so much. Like, what's the thing that could catch up a little bit? If Apple, and the other thing too is like just kind of skipped over the daily chart. Like Apple underneath 220, like it's broken. It broke the shelf from last week. So to me, like that's usually, short back into that level, which I didn't think would be possible. Like, could you really get back into 220 today? But Apple certainly, it's going to be on my watch, because if the market ends up with a 2 or 3% down day, and Apple's only 0.3 right now, you got to ask yourself, what can move here? Still, I haven't really changed too much. I mean, I still like Amazon. We talked about that, and I'm looking at Morrow in the crypto space, and then CoreWeave, and we'll get to some of the names on, and we'll obviously talk about a little bit of Tesla, but I don't want to sleep on Apple either, especially if it goes green. I could see it press into that 220.
All right, let's get right into everything we need to know here. Sharif's going to have a look at the market.
56.23, Brendo. That's where we closed out on Friday on the ES June contract. Well below that right now, guys. 55.75. We defended that 50-point area, 55.50 in the pre-market. That is the morning low, with 5,600 on the dot being that resistance level. So we're caught in a 50-point range. If we stay within that 50-point range, then you have 5,600 as resistance, 55.50 as support. If we give up 55.50, we're looking at basically 5,500 as resistance. If we clear 5,600, we're using Friday's close of 56.23 as resistance.
Yeah, new low is possible here, right around the corner anyways. If you haven't done so, make sure you grab that. Absolutely free for you every single day from us. Jump down to the description of this video. Top link will get you to the sign-up page, and then all you need is your email address, and you can have the watch list every single day. Rumblings over the weekend that Elon will call it quits for Doge. I saw multiple articles suggesting that I think he teased at the fact that maybe his time has come to an end. Nothing official, obviously, but that being said, Tesla down huge here this morning. It was more than 6%, 5.5%. Anyways, right now, 250 seems to be a bit of a thing. We'll see if it can hold on.
I think Tesla shareholders will probably applaud that, Brendo, because they want him focusing back here on the company. Let's talk about what we're expecting on Wednesday, guys. Wall Street expects about 373,000 deliveries for Q1. That would be down 3.6% year over year from that 386 print we got last year. Deutsche Bank also even more negative. They're projecting 340 to 350, citing weakness in global demand. Some of the brand headwinds here, I mean, they really don't need repeating. Political engagement. There's been protests, vandalism as customers churn up, especially in Europe and some of the more liberal regions in the United States. And there was also this week the Tesla takedown project. Regional sales definitely under pressure. Chinese rivals like BYD, as well as Tesla incentives and low-cost financing, which have had little impact in Europe. And you were telling me about this. The refreshed Model Y may be kind of a little bit slower here to catch wind, with the Cybertruck demand remaining weak, and Tesla recalling almost all the Cybertrucks. As I was telling everyone on the floor, I was at a Tesla dealership this past weekend, Brendo, and they had security up the yin-yang.
Needed, clearly. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I saw the first one, or first time, the new Model Y. I'm not a fan.
I know.
The back was too, I don't know, it's very square and high, and I don't know, it's different.
I think you'll like the interior a bit more.
But like what I said to you, and I think what's more important maybe in this entire conversation, is it makes the old model, the original model, completely irrelevant.
Agree?
Because it's that different and that updated, but we'll see anyways.
First off, a shout out and thank you to Christopher Mulligan for the super chat. Canadian dollars, loving the new infographics there. Well, I'll tell you this much. You could do an infographic that if Elon steps away from Doge, you're going to get a pop. I don't know if that's how real that might be, but suffice to say, if people believe that, I don't think we'd be down 6% right now. So 252. If you remember, hey, what a week last week was. All things were fantastic, and Tesla was getting back to 290, and then we're right back to the underneath the 250 days. But last time we were here, it was a flush. Down to 220s, and 250 to 252 was resistance for 3 days. So the first stop is looking at that 252 level, at least for myself, and like pop and fade into there. If it's breaking 252, it's a big gap if it breaks above that price. So I'm not looking to fight this thing if it gets above there, and it's pretty tight to that level. It's a long way to go green once it takes out, if it takes out that 252, but that's the level I'm looking at here on Tesla. for the pop and the old fade. It's not a huge pop. It's only about 1.5% for it to get there at the open. So it could require some patience because let's say it breaks out and goes to like 55, 56. It might require patience to put that short on later on in the day, or later on in the morning, I should say.
Yeah, I was, all right, so sticky notes out. But I say same way. I'm looking for 253, a little bit, just a pop, right? I mean, if we can get anything, the 200 period right now is at 253.70. So, excuse me. I wrote down 253 short. Wait for it. It should give us a top. Like, I don't know if so for Tesla, I don't necessarily want to sit here and take it against, but I am looking for this to be the top. Dark pool wicks up to 254, 255, 200 period, definitely getting hit there today, down 6%. Seems like obviously a little bit too much there, because I do think, excuse me, I do think that a pop-up is what's going to happen. I think people will be excited a little bit if there is rumors of, you know, him returning to the desk there of Tesla, trying to get this all figured out. So for me, I'm still a short here until we get above the 200 period moving average. This is why I'm saying it's going to be a fluid situation, because as soon as the market opens, as we've seen many times before, and especially Tesla and Palantir are the two #1 names that are guilty of this. And it's just violent moves, like straight away, right? Like this goes 274 down to 270, straight up to 277, straight back to the 200 period of 272 again, and then straight up to 292. Anyways, that's one day. Then the very next day is this, 278 down to 268. That's $10 right off the open. Then a bump back, $8. Then the whoosh, right? So yeah, it's going to be violent right off the open. To go short this 246 also isn't a horrible play. So for me, I'm going short. The note is out. I'd rather take the 200 period. It looks like we're coming down lower now. Remember, we do have the imbalance locator that's going to be populated here. And right now, how many bids do you see? You know, we see Wolf, which had the huge move there on Friday, and Thursday, Friday, and NMAX. Other than that, man, Kava down, QBTS down, BBAI, Bank of America, RIG, like all the names, Oklo, Walmart, $84. Like there's a lot. Uber, right? 71. Like there's a lot. You know, being long Uber in the mid 60s seemed like it was pretty good. Now that's coming into question again. Babo with the sell back down. Wow, below 130 now as well. So everything is sell side. So I think you got to be looking short to begin with, and we're going to try that with Tesla up at 253.
So next here, trying to bounce, as Sean was mentioning there, 1.3% still here for IBID. Briefly got back above 47. This was that story we were mentioning earlier about MicroStrategy picking up. It was 22,000 Bitcoin for 1.92 billion during last week alone. So that means last week they were buying. This week comes the offering. That's how it goes anyway.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, it's a repetitive strategy here. I don't think he's going to change it. All right. So Benjamin Cowan, analyst from In the Cryptoverse, warns that Bitcoin could trigger yet another death cross, and he predicts here about 1 to 2 weeks. A death cross, for those who don't know, is when the 50 SMA falls below the 200 SMA, often signaling short-term weakness. This would be BTC's third death cross this cycle, following the ones that took place in September 23 and August 2024. The historical pattern here has been quite, steady. Death crosses often trigger what he calls short-term sell-offs, but are typically followed by rallies. Bitcoin tends to drift lower into the cross, then begins rebounding after the market reacts. Some key support levels here to watch, as Neil mentioned. Cowan highlighting the same thing here, $73,000 as a critical support level on the next pullback, but holding above 73, Brendo, would imply the market structure still remains bullish, so a breakdown below that level could invalidate the whole bullish trend and have us rethinking this entire thing.
Pretty bullish right now. Anyways, if you're just looking at pre-market action here, guys, so far for all of these, really.
Yeah, that was a nice pop. No question about it. Like, you just got right into, well, you actually broke 83 briefly for, I don't know, like a couple minutes, and then before coming right back in. It doesn't mean that you're out of the water, but, last I checked, what were we talking about with Michael? He was saying buy dips into prior resistance in a weak market, short into prior support, which in 47.5 looks like one here on IBIT. It's only down 1 point. And then Mara, it's still underneath Friday's close, so it's still in the pocket there. But the flat bottom at the 12 right now is completely gone. So if it's not going to be underneath the 52-week low, then it's Friday's close, which sits at actually 12.5, 12.47. We got to wait for, if we're not breaking underneath $12, then we're waiting for 12.50, and that's on the premise that you don't break that 47.5 on IBIT. So it's still early. You still have actually 20 minutes to go in here, and we've seen it before where a morning like this, the first move is you're looking for places to fade or to short into a bit of buying that comes in or profit taking. And anybody that was, like if you were short, let's just say, the topic is Bitcoin, so I'll show IBIT. Like let's say you were short off of that high, like $50 on IBIT. You could see this gap down and be like, oh, I would take some profit off after a week, take your 10%, 8 or 9% or whatever it might be. Sometimes you get that on a big gap down. So that's the first thing I'll look for. As long as we hold underneath that prior support, I mean, I'm looking at MAR at 12.5.
Yeah, for me, I wrote down here on the sticky note that we just liked IBIT. IBIT's going to be is going to be for me the #1 trade, just because I think it sets up 47.50. So here's IBIT right here. Okay, well now we just, it's too bad we got close. So 40, the Nasdaq fades lower, feels right. Shorting this into Wednesday. Watching for a bump back to Friday's close. I don't know if we're going to get it, but that's what we're waiting for. And we almost got it. It got to 47.30, 47.25 right there. So there's Friday's close, 47.50 up to 48. I just want to be short IBIT. I think crypto short is the right play until the Nasdaq gets itself figured out. So for me, yeah, let's wait for more news. I'm long crypto. I mean, I'm very, very long crypto. Obviously, I'm not short it. So at the end of the day, I still stay net long, but for day trade purposes, you got to be short crypto. Again, market, who has confidence right now to load into Bitcoin, right? Or put their money to work? You got to have some sort of confidence. And right now it's looking the other way. Like people might be thinking, I got to dump this stock. Obviously it's not a stock, but this asset. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening. You're still above the 200 period moving average on IBIT. So I like that. That doesn't matter too much. Obviously this is an ETF. So we'll wait to see as it tracks spot Bitcoin. But yeah, I don't know. We have jobs coming through. The consumer doesn't seem very strong. I'm going to be short Bitcoin. Let's just see if it goes back up to those levels. Maybe we change it to 47.25. But for now, I'm thinking short pretty much everything if we can get our hands on it. And let's let it get a level. We're only down 1.2%. Like we are rallying back. We were down 1.8.
Yeah, it's 0.5%.
A third back.
On a normal day, 0.5% move is it'd be like, oh my goodness, we're going red to green or green to red if you move a 0.5 point at this time. It's because we were gapped so far down that things still look overly bearish. A name that actually bounced off of its March low, knock on wood, is up next.
All right.
Another one trying to lead here, back to the upside, still 3.5% or better part of 3.5% here for Nvidia, but looking a little bit better now. 105 holds at the bottom. There's all kinds of talk about demand and the lack of inventory right across the board. China, there was rumors out of China on the weekend that going forward, they're going to have a quote unquote crisis when it comes to these GPUs. So, how is that bad for Jensen and Nvidia?
It's really not. And then you and I were talking off camera, and Sam Altman takes to X and to basically say, guys, take it easy on this image generation, feature we've added.
No, I think what he said was, let my people sleep or something to that effect. Like, it's crazy, but
their demand is high, Brendo. He says basically, that the feature is eliciting so much demand, they don't have enough GPUs to back it up. Then you also hear about China buying these GPUs hand over fist, worried about possible restrictions coming out. And then you see the CoreWeave IPO that we got on Friday, which is obviously very AI, GPU, AI chip related. And it was met kind of lukewarm. I don't want to go over the whole CoreWeave IPO because we have that as a next topic, but it's a bit of a tough look here. So a lot of analysts talking about what the move here is for Nvidia. Nvidia is in what they call a short-term correction mode, but which may attract dip buyers at near technical support, as Neil was mentioning. Watch for tariff decision on Wednesday and the follow-through from CoreWeave to SSAI sentiment reset, and a break below the current levels, Brendo, could trigger further de-risking across AI and all these other semiconductor names.
I think a lot of people are going to have their eye on not only Nvidia, but this entire group, in the short term here. So 105 holding so far right now.
So I know you were just talking about the death cross when you were mentioning we were doing the crypto story. Well, NVIDIA had one a week and a half ago as well. The 50 crossed to 200 on the daily. Now, the only reason it's not on my list of, hey, this is the stuff that we're trying to short this morning, it's right at that support. Like you bounced, we showed you that 104, it's about 104.80 that was the prior March low. And where did you bounce already pre-market? Like you bounced right off of that level. It's a pretty sizable gap that it's trying to fill in. Like if it's not losing the bid for support, it's at the bid. And that's sort of the thing that it takes me a little bit away from it, is it's at the bid. It needs to break out underneath it. So when I was going over like Mag 7 names, I'll give you an example. It's not Mag 7, like a chip name. Like Intel breaking down, just breaking the 50 period. Like it's already broken a shelf and trending down underneath that shelf. Like it isn't at the support level as you speak. Like if Intel was sitting right at 20 bucks, maybe I'd feel the same way. But it's into the gap where, you know, if you pop back into Friday's close or 22.5, like that sets up and looks pretty good. You're not at the big support level. So when I looked at the Mag 7 name, that's the only reason I came up, you know, with Amazon, because 190, unlike Nvidia, you're under support looking for continuation, as opposed to Nvidia being right on it. It doesn't mean Nvidia can't break 104. Like if we break 104 today, I think I'm probably going to be wanting to join a short, at least until you get down to the $100 level. I think that'll be a big psychological one. Nvidia and $100, like there'll be a big bid on that level, and you'll want to trade off of it. But yeah, at Meg 7s, I'm kind of preferring Amazon to Nvidia, at least for today.
I have Amazon higher than Nvidia on my list, but at the end of the day, I mean, we want to talk a little bit about Nvidia. I mean, down 4%, pretty nasty. People love the stock. I mean, I don't really, you know, when you think about what the next 5 or 10 years are going to look like, you know, you think about NVIDIA and you think about AI, right? I mean, there's going to be other names, but this is right at such a key level, as we just mentioned. Oh, you can't even see it because my face is in the way, but hold on a second. There. I just don't want this chart to collapse like it just did. Okay, yeah, let's just call it up on e-signal here, NVDA. So it's at that, NVDA. It's at that spot right now where I'm looking short. So at the end of the day, I wrote down short 109. That's right back to where it was Friday. Doesn't look like we're gonna get back up to there. Have we seen NVIDIA rip $3 off the open? Easily, yes. Could it happen? Yes. Will it happen? Most likely, no. So right now it's 106, 108. Is going to be the level 106 up to 108, starting maybe the short in and around there. The 200 periods at 106.50. I feel like that's going to be a decent spot to start the short. I don't necessarily want to do anything until we see, again, like I think today being patient is fine. We've had huge bangers. Like this is what I was talking about. When you find the right setups is when you're supposed to go. You're not supposed to just go because we're sitting here talking about things. But NVIDIA at the end of the day is right here. It's right back into this level from September. And that was a pretty bad low. And then I wasn't here for that August 5th low. And it was like, oh man, I wish I was. Well, you might be there now. So right here, 93 and change. Like that was that dip. I mean, that was the yen carry trade. Apparently with the Japanese market down over 4% last night, you know, that's gonna be a good liquidity spot as well. We'll wait to see what sort of the flow through on that is. It looks like it's not too dramatic. That's why I thought the market was going to be down even more today. But 104 and change right here looks like it wants to hold for NVIDIA. It's just, will it? You know, like that's the whole thing. You don't need to guess in this market. It'll give us tops, it'll give us bottoms, and then from that point, you can make an educated guess. So for me on NVIDIA here, we've already talked about how these imbalances are looking right now with no buys whatsoever. I mean, if you're going to count Wolfspeed as a buy, then fine, but like it's only 100,000 shares. It did 100 million or something last week. So let's just wait to see what happens. But for now, I'm looking short. I know we have CoreWeave coming up, but you know, that was not a great IPO. AMD did break. I think it's back up now because the market's rallying, but we've broken through $100 on this name as well. Everyone thought like, wow, Advanced Money Destroyer. Maybe that name's wrong. Advanced Money, I was gonna say, what's a D for moving up? Advanced Money, D. No, decimator would be the other way around. But anyways, doubler? I don't know. Anyways, at the end of the day, it's right back down. 1, 2, 3. 3 horrible days in a row for AMD, and it looks like it's trying to come back in again right into this 94, 95 level. So if there's going to be dip buys, I'd rather dip buy AMD where we've seen it recently at these bottoms. The NVIDIA bottom is like back to September. If that breaks, we could get significant. So I would look to buy dips in AMD, although I don't like the stock. I think that technically, this 96 to 97 area, that easily could fill in here today. And I think that would be the better, yeah, I said doubling, but I think that would be a good area for AMD. So Destiny, okay, that's a good one at Crypto
Destiny.
D. Yeah, but is your Destin long or short? That's the whole thing. So. Yeah, oh yeah, advanced money deposit. Well, you put your money in, you may not get it back out. That's the only problem.
I like dispenser if it goes up. That's not bad. I like dispensers.
I don't know, man. All right, keep your money safe, potentially under the mattress today, guys.
Probably the best idea. We'll see how things play out here, though. Palantir, another one, 7% right now. We're right back to the lows. Didn't really bounce much with the overall market there when we saw a few other ones trying to, at least. I mean, there's really not much on this today. More rumors and more worries, I guess is a better word, about, the DoD cutting spending here after what happened last week.
Exactly, Brendo. This is going to be the fourth straight day of losses, sadly, for Palantir if we continue in this direction. So, as you mentioned, government spending concerns is a major focus here. Palantir's reliance on government contracts, specifically the Department of Defense, has become a focal point for investors. Recent news of the DoD canceled Oracle's HR software project due to delays and costs added pressure across government contract tech suppliers. The DoD also announced a $580 million in additional budget cuts, which also raised fears again for similar impacts on Palantir. And analysts are, kind of in consensus here. Analyst Gabriela Borges of Goldman reaffirmed the neutral rating on Palantir, citing valuation risks and long-term uncertainty. She cautioned that growing AI accessibility could erode Palantir's differentiation. She also noted that AIP, which is their AI system, has evolved, but its core approach remains unchanged, which could be a concern in a rapidly advancing tech landscape. And just to give you an idea here, obviously Palantir trading at a premium relative to other software firms, so their high valuation, Brendo, could limit the upside unless the company secures some new funding or comes up with something novel.
This is a very, very key area here. If you go out to a daily chart, guys, for Palantir, we're back into these highs once again.
Yeah, the recent low was 10th, I believe, of March. So not too long ago, it was just under $75. The only thing I wrote down on the old iPad was 75 in here. It seems like it's going to be 10 down. It'll be double digits to the downside if it gets into that low from, I hate to say local bottom or whatever, but it's sort of staring at you right here. You got 80, which is breaking down. You got 75 down there. I think that's one of the names I'm looking for if we catch a bid or any kind of reversion off that even dollar level on Palantir. I'll look for a reversion long on PLTR. There's other names that are shorts that I think are at prices I like a little better or that are better probability to get to those prices on a pop than Palantir. But the 75 I'm only looking for it as a base long. It'll be SSR at that point for sure because it's closed at $86, so it'll be SSR at 76, let alone 75.
Just about showing just how crazy these markets are based on really no independent news. I mean, we did hear that Oracle lost the contract from the DoD, so that's going to give us a little bit more weakness in the space for sure. People that are a little bit nervous about where government spending is going to be cut from and is it going to be taken away from some of these technology companies? And that's possible, right? But we do know that Donald Trump and this administration continues to focus, although right now, not necessarily completely on defense and all that, as we're going to have to work through this tariff talk. But I do think that once we're done through that, then we'll probably turn to more bullish talk about, the country and, where they are as far as being one of the strongest in the world. Hopefully politically, I don't think that's going to ever be really considered because of sort of the left and the right. But I do think that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, people are going to want to make a strong sort of military base for the country, not as in a military base, but get that strong thought that the United States is still no one to be messed with. And I think people still agree with that, especially with Ukraine coming out there, and apparently that now they're not going to agree with that arms deal. So I don't really know exactly what's going on with that, but at the end of the day, this was just $97 4 days ago. Now you're $77. I mean, you're $79, but you just dropped 25% in 4 days. it seems a little dramatic, but again, names with high Ps are going to get hit, and this is just one of those. So, you know, long story short, what I was trying to get at is United States, no matter if it's Donald Trump, if it's going to be a Democrat in power, there still needs to be that, you know, world power, and United States is always going to take that on, I feel like, for sure. So Palantir is part of that story. And, you know, definitely a shock to the system when you were just at 130 and now you're down to almost chopped in half. That's going to suck. But at the end of the day, I still like the company, and I believe in what they're doing and where they're going to be in the next 5 or 10 years as far as a solid base. And there's government funding, right? Although it doesn't seem like it right now, the funding is going to be there for many of these companies. So let's just wait to see if and when that gets back into the positive talk. Just as promised, man. Apple sell, right? I mean, there's the tick down to 216. Nvidia just came with a sell. So there's the tick down to 105. Right now it's bouncing back a little bit. I feel like these sells aren't as dramatic as we had thought. But at the end of the day, there are a couple of buys in there. Don't be fooled by the SQQ buy. Of course, that's the other way around. That would still be a sell. TSLL sell. So there's Tesla with a sell. We've been noting that. Joe trades that a lot. Amazon, both Neil and I are on that name. That's also a sell. So everything's still coming sell. Ford is a sell. I mean, anything Google's a sell. AAL, maybe some airlines buys, but
TSM.
At the end of the day, TSM is, just pointed out TSM. Obviously, everyone's mulling. So look, what we're getting at here is, look, whoops, all these stocks continue to do this, right? So we didn't get any relief whatsoever from anything here. Big Bear AI under $3 now. Everything is bad, man. Kava's a name that I thought we liked. Look, man, just sharpen your pencils. Like, there's going to be buying opportunities. I just don't think today's that day.
You believe this, but I know we're going to talk about CoreWeave next. Mullen's up 37%.
Another split? Or?
Which would be more impressive if it wasn't an $11, sorry, $11. What am I doing?
$11?
11-cent stock on Friday. I can't believe I said $11. It's because you said another split. It'll be at $11 when they do the next split.
Right.
It's actually doing volume today, so I'm going to pay for locates on Mullen, and just in case it doesn't run to like 20 cents or something like that. But everything's looking weak, including the recent IPO that we just had. Boys.
A2 always interesting from the standpoint of volume. Is it going to be there again? Is it not? In this group and in this industry, probably still some interest in this stock. They did what they had to going back to Friday to close this thing at 40. Or just above it, but here we are trying to hold on to 38. That was where that big bounce came in for CoreWeave.
It was exciting to trade it. I don't know how excited the market was to receive them. Because basically their IPO was priced well below its expected range, which weighs concerns, obviously, about AI valuation excesses. The stock finished flat on the debut, and last time I checked here, Brenda, it was down about 3.7% in the pre-market. Gives you an idea here between some of the associations between Nvidia and this company. Nvidia owns about $250 million in CoreWeave stock and is the exclusive chip provider powering all of CoreWeave's AI servers. And the week debut casts a little bit of doubt on the near-term monetization of AI infrastructure. But like you and I talked about, we get one signal from the right side, and then there's another signal from the left side showing strong demand.
Yeah, so let's see. Decent action right now, guys. I mean, it's back and forth, but volume's there, it seems.
Better with that 40 price. Not often that you see, like, this is the biggest tech IPO of the year, I mean, obviously to this point, and they priced it down, and then it just can continue to indicate lower and lower and lower at the open. It did bounce initially, like there's no question about it, like you made money on that long trade, and it certainly caught some bids later in the day, but $40 where it closed turned into resistance at the end of the day. And as long as it's underneath that, I paid for locates for at least one more day. And if we get up into the 40, I'll look for reversals or like wick candles or anything like that for a bit of a short trade. But the first place I'll be looking, Tesla and Amazon. We've already mentioned this in crypto, but CoreWeave at that $40 is going to make a lot of sense. The other thing to keep in mind is we've seen this story before. Like sometimes you trend down after an IPO, and when it reverses, if it ever takes out that IPO top, let's just say it goes down for the next few months and never breaks 42, well then the day it breaks 42 gets interesting. But for today, it's just the 40 level that I'm looking at on CoreWeave. And the other thing is we're going to get Klarna in April. So a couple of weeks from now or some point in the next month, we should get another large IPO. The buy now, pay later name should be coming in April.
Only 30 seconds left. I put a go short here at the low of the market for CoreWeave, 37.50. I'm going to punch that short. No reason for this to hold up today, honestly. So down 4%. Look, if it does, it does. We'll punch like 1 unit there, and then we'll see what winds up happening, because maybe we do get that drop. It was about, I think it was for 1,000 shares, it was like $20, $23, something like that for CoreWeave. So a little expensive on that side, but at the end of the day, you know, trying to make some money there. So we'll see if CoreWeave can get going. All right, hey, how's it going, Adara? There it is, only 5 seconds left as Adara's in red. I mean, I didn't want to talk about that, but I just did. 2 and 1, here we go. All right.
All red.
All right, yeah, thanks, Adara. Yeah, the all red everything. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening here in the market. Hopefully that's not an indication of anything, but all right, here we go. The market is now open. CoreWeave dancing around a little bit. Tesla making the move higher, which is nice. Now only down 5%. So, you know, looking to get short on Tesla. I don't have any bids or offers right now. The level that I wrote down for Tesla was 253. So we'll see if we can get into there. Nvidia dancing around as well. IBIT, you can always
already went.
Yeah, we can always watch the futures of a crypto down here at 82.5. So we're not getting short until we get back to the high of the pre-market for IBIT. So let's wait. Here we go, man. Tesla back to 250. At least that's nice.
Yeah, Tesla making its bounce. I mean, it's not, oh, now it's at 251. Yeah, Mara did lose $12 right at the open. So pre-market high now 12.16. I'm shorting back into that if we get it. But it's starting to drop a little bit faster than I'm watching Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's not doing anything. So Tesla getting close to 52. Amazon doesn't want any part of the highs right now. It's underneath 188. Doesn't look like it wants to press. It's 190. We're looking to short underneath 190 here on Amazon. So only a minute in, and already, wow. Yeah, Bitcoin's not doing anything. Amara's really starting to accelerate to the downside. Didn't want to hit the bid at the low of the day. Hopefully we'll get something underneath 12 at some point. But not much is popping up here to get that short.
No, I just took IBIT short right now. I mean, it was going to be one of the number one. It is the number one idea that I had right there. You're starting to break. I thought we could take VWAP right there, so I went short 75. Again, 1 unit short here to start the day. Now Tesla's back down below 249, so that went to 251 and then got going. So this 200 period and the 50 period, I'm going to use that as the out for right now. So just a little bit north of 47, and we'll tap out 40. Yeah, basically 47 is going to be our tap out spot for IBIT. We wanted to get the party started, so we did right now. So we'll just go props up there. We'll see what happens now with IBIT. I mean, I don't know if it's going to go up or down, but we are now short into this level. So we always, let's take out 5%, 4.10 cents, and then again up into 46.90 or so. Let's sit there with a heck of a lot more shares just in case we get back up there. So there it is. Your first trade of the day right there, props it up 1 for 1 so far as we go. So here we go, man. There goes IBIT. Yeah, Neil. There it is. A nice little short there for IBIT. So again, we just stick with what we're talking about, going short on Bitcoin, and there it is. Nice payday right now as the gates of hell open up for crypto, it looks like.
No, the gates of hell definitely opened up. Great short over there. Amara just broke down. I didn't take the punch through the low. We tried to get it through VWAP, but we're going to have to take any pop we can get. Tesla's about to take out the low of the day. Amazon's taking out the low of the day. Pretty much everything is printing to the downside. It entered a second time. Tesla about to break 245 to the downside. I mean, any pop, we're going to have to get short somewhere in there. And CoreWeave also broke low of the day. So CoreWeave's heading lower. NVIDIA, however, actually holding the bottom, at least for now. Remember, the current pre-market low on NVIDIA, that's the bottom from earlier in March. So this 104.80, which it's trying to break right now, is the absolute low for sure on NVIDIA from that March 12, I believe. Looks like it's trying to break in here. If it closes underneath the low, then we join this one to the downside. But it's Mara that I'm a little bit more concerned with, because I want the first time it goes sideways or tries to pop, I want to try to get into this short. Now down 7%. Sheesh.
Sheesh, yeah. Who would have thought crypto short? Oh, yeah, we did right there. So we again, number one name here on the sticky note was to go short on IBIT. So we just sat there and did that. There it is right there. Doesn't get to our levels, but was having such a hard time off the open there. Just came right back in. We were looking for that short. We didn't take it. It was 20 cents away from that, or else we'd have a much bigger position. As we now start to get out, still in 75%. So maybe it does fall down, and we figure that out. Amazon, all right. So or rips up, we get shorter. Amazon was again the short that we liked. I wrote down here obviously recession. I don't think recession fears, but maybe stagflation. Obviously, as the retailers continue to show holes. I mean, we saw Amazon, American Eagle, Gap, a lot of these numbers, man. Walmart, obviously to the downside as well. Costco, so Amazon just continues to bleed there because it also has the tech play in it, right? So the tech was saving it before, AWS and everything. Now it seems to be helping, pushing it even lower. So that's going to be a big problem. Tesla, I mean, yeah, Bitcoin moving sharply lower now, 81.8. Obviously, we have that play. As we'll get some, wow, it's still going down even lower. I'm going to get out 5 more percent. We're now down really nicely here on crypto. We're almost, make our day with one trade. That'd be nice, but there it is. We just got another fill down there at 41s. 2 of them down at 41, 42. Maybe we're bouncing now. We do have a little lower to go. Nice little bounce there off crypto. All right, so what else is flashing?
Palantir just held the low of the day.
Yeah, we just got CoreWeave, by the way. Okay, so go ahead. We're into CoreWeave now. It just broke that low. So we're only, we're only here at 40s. So we didn't get a great, we got an okay fill. Breaking 37.50 is what we wanted, right? So there's CoreWeave right there, 37.50. That was the low from Friday. So now we get short on that. I just put a bid at 40, at 30s. Looks like that misses. So over 38, if we can, thank you, Fabian. If we break over 38.10 where VWAP is, then we'll get out. Small position here, obviously for CoreWeave as it's brand new. Let's see what winds up happening, but we're going to go short into 38. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Thank you all 10,000 of you that are with us right now as the market starts to bounce back and forth here a bit.
Yeah, the market's trying to bounce. Actually, the only name in big cap tech, well, it's not even a big cap, I shouldn't say, but Palantir just held the low of the day. Believe it or not, it would seem to me to be a little bit weaker than that for sure, but it isn't. You're holding bid on Palantir for now. NVIDIA NVIDIA just closed underneath 105. So on a 3-minute. So I'm going to try to get short on the 105, under the 105 level. We wanted Mara first, but that never came anywhere close to where we wanted to try to get that one to the short side. So we'll take a shot underneath VWAP on NVIDIA. And then the other name which is trying to bounce is Amazon. So Amazon with its first little bit of a sign of life, let's just say here. Underneath that 190, flat bottom break on the daily. I want to short it back into the pre-market highs here on AMZN. And if it gets past 187, we'll take a shot. But Mara as well, those are the 2 names we liked initially the most short. Mara doing its first pop. Pre-market low, support to resistance, that's one of the things that I like. So I'm going to work into MARA. Is Bitcoin holding 82, which I think is what's giving a little bit of a bounce. So when it flushed, got to that 82 level and bounced, giving us a chance to short Mara on the way back up here. Ooh, I just saw Mike Simmons say Nike went green. Congratulations, Nike. Maybe you finally made it post-earnings bottom. Very unlikely, though. So we're into MAR for the first time off of VWAP. We're taking it. We took NVIDIA, but it just bounced at 185. So we shorted it pre-market low to VWAP. We're now in the one that we wanted first, and that is MARA. Nothing in Amazon still. Yeah, Amazon's still not really giving you any kind of juice back into those pre-market highs. Or lows, I should say. Still about $1 away from getting anything in Amazon.
5. Yeah, okay, so we discovered, I still like that Amazon, obviously. I think we both do, as we talked about that, so good look there. And about trying to be patient, right? I think that's part of the keys there. CoreWeave not doing too much. We did short that. That low looks like 18s immediately when we went short. So, that would have been something that would have been nice to look at. But again, that was immediately. So we didn't get that. So I'm going to try to get something out at 30. It looks like we're stopping there. So we're going to try to get 5% out at 30 and then 10% out down here somewhere in the teens. Hopefully that can happen for us. And if it does, great on that. All right, IBIT does make, so we only have those 2 positions. IBIT does make a move back out. We talked about getting double the outs down there. We're still in a little bit less than half now of this position, but it's battle back. We just got a 65 out. So here we go, man. Maybe the market is making a little bit of a move, and maybe it's crypto related because there it goes. Crypto now only down 1.75%. Nice bounce off the bottom. It looks like it's a little more aggressive. So we can definitely get back into that name again. Looking at a level, we talked about if it broke through 47 would be where the stop is. So I still want to do that. 46.90 or so for more shares in IBIT. So if that does happen, there was a name that was moving around that I wanted to look at. We can look at Tesla, but it wasn't Tesla. All right, TSLA, just real quickly to have a look at. Yeah, Amazon, NVIDIA, Tesla. Okay, we'll have a look. Something flashed somewhere. Now I've lost my mind because I was looking at crypto there for a second. All right, Tesla, nice move up to 248, 250 again there for that. Okay, we just got a bit. Okay, we just got CoreWeave. All right, okay, there it goes. Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Roberts. Here we go, man. It's CoreWeave one more time. So we just get that fill down there at the bottom. We were expecting a break. We get 37.12s right there. So again, hopefully you guys were sitting there as well. Nice short on CoreWeave. We just shorted 37.50, right? We just got 37.12s. We got some out at 30, some out at 12s right there for that one. But yeah, all right. So it's IBIT on the move. I'm going to try to find out what that other name that I was thinking about. Maybe it was Google. I don't know.
Well, if you're looking for strength, there's actual strength in energy right now. You could pull up oil futures, pull up Oxy, pull up, I happen to have Chevron up here breaking high of the day. And the other thing about Chevron, 52-week high in $1 change. So this actually has a chance to break it out. So market weak, tech weak, energy strong, at least some of the oil names here. That's all I'm watching. Chevron, if it breaks that top, wasn't looking at it, but a shout to those in the chat. They were like, hey, man, look at Oxy. My first thought went over to CVX because I knew it was close to that 52-week high. Still about $1 away from it, but potentially, if you're going down all day here in the Nasdaq and the ES, it wouldn't surprise me if we caught a little bit more action to the upside and some names that have been correlated the other direction, right? Like that negative correlation. So we did get Mar off VWAP. Going to try to add to it on any pops into 1175. We'll try to get more short. Didn't even get anything in the 70s. And then hold to the low of the day. Try and scalp out of that one. And Amazon, wherefore art thou, Amazon? 185. Yeah, it's ugly for Amazon here. The market down 2%. This is down 4 points. Got to be a name playing some catch up that we can look at here. I'm just going to double check Google.
Robinhood getting hit.
Kind of chilling. It was Palantir that hadn't broken the low yet, and it's starting to go. So maybe the one that's late to the party could be Palantir here. It wasn't on the plan of action to be short this name, to be honest with you. So I'm going to stick to maybe Mara and Amazon, see if we can't get a pop at some point in Amazon to get that short.
Yeah. Oh, it was the TQQs. That is what it was. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, no, I was thinking, I saw someone in the chat was like, if we're thinking short, why are we not just shorting the market? And I think that that's probably going to be what winds up working here is just the market, you know, trying to find a name might not make that much sense when you're thinking short on the whole market. And we've really hit this name before. VWAP right here at 54.20 for the TQs, kind of finding a little bit of a base there. So yeah, I think that's what it was. So yeah, 54, yeah, good level there, up to 54.30. I think that's going to be a decent short. The market's, wow, okay. The market's just down a lot right now. And it's just like, I didn't even, being down 2% to start the short on the Qs, obviously we've just missed that. That's exactly what it was, man. That 19,000 coming into play, like right into there on the NASDAQ, right into here on the TQs. And it was just a couple minutes ago. So that's exactly, so thank you for pointing that out. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I don't want to say 100%, but that had to have been what it is right there at 54. So now we're starting to drop down. CoreWeave is back in the building right now. So we still take that for 40 cents. Now, Neil's got short Mara. We're only short these two names. So I'm going to put another bid down here as we just bounced a little bit off the teens again. So we'll see if we can get another fill down there. Still short IBIT. That seems to be working. We did not reload. We're still in these two shorts. So yeah, let's go back, man. We got to short the futures at some point, I would feel like. And I'd rather have this bump a little bit. 53.70s, we're getting back into that area as well. Yeah, I don't know. It's just so far down. Economic numbers today. Do we have any?
Only one at 9:45. We got
okay, Chicago PMI.
Yes, Chicago PMI.
So that's coming up. Okay,
2 minutes.
Let's see if that gives us a reason.
You know what? I think a lot of times, if you're hoping for like a volume spike to get you in, like you want to short a pop, algos pull their bids in front of economic numbers sometimes. Yep. So sometimes you'll get that move in. So I'm going to have a couple of stink offers. Intel, by the way, Intel went up to 22.5 prior support and then just dumped. So like everything else, it's breaking lows. Going to look at VWAP on that name, but it's Amazon that we want to try to get into. So 187 on Amazon is going to be the look for me. Just keep on like offering, and then it goes lower, and then we're like, we'll short a pop back in the VWAP, and now it's changed. But 187, I think that's the level we want to try to grab out in front of, with only about a minute and a half till we get that PMI number. And I think we could get a little bit of a bounce into it. That's all you need. The algos drop their bids and offers, and a lot of times it doesn't take much to move it. If we get a chance to short those pops, that's what I want to do here. We don't know whether it's good or bad there, Kalua, in the chat for the PMI number, but we're going to find out in about 1 minute. So I'm just looking to be able to short any kind of a move up that it might give us. AMD's at low of day, RX, you're absolutely right. Everything is looking at the low of the day right now. Even Palantir, which was strong, was trying to hold the low. Was relatively strong at the open, down 7.5%, but it's trying to break lower now finally. So I'm going to stick with Amazon. If we get a pop in Mara, we'll take that as it comes. Oh, I should be canceling this order at VWAP. We just broke another low. I think Mara's going to hit 11, and it'll be down 10% at that point. So if SSR bounces, I'm trailing out of it if it bounces after 10% down.
All right, 30 seconds left. We can go to Adair. Let's go to find out what this number's all about.
Chicago PMI here on watch. Going to get about 15 seconds. Forecast 45, previous 45.5. So we're expecting it to be about 0.5 lower than that previous print. As mentioned earlier, this is really the only big economic number of the day. And we got 47.6, so stronger than the forecast of 45 and the previous of 45.5. Market here, these are the cues, not reacting too much to this print, guys. Pushing a little bit lower here. And again, no 10 a.m. number to worry about because we do not have any other major prints today. Back to you.
Yeah, there was no
waiting
for
the short. Yeah. All right. So we're still short IBIT. IBIT's still going to be big, man. I mean, we're still 30 cents in the money on this one. So, I mean, short of the crypto, it was the #1 trade idea for me today. If you're going to be follow me at TraderTV, Sean. I'm always taking these plays. The ones that we write down, I just, I like them, trying to believe in these names. So there it goes, IBIT to the downside. We did not write down CoreWeave, but CoreWeave right now is definitely a banger. CoreWeave right now, Neil, looking at $1 in the money right now, starting to go downside. Let's see, we just broke 37. I don't know how far this name's going to go, obviously, but it's a banger. Their CR, look at the move down. We take a look at that. Nice move there for boom, that's what we're doing. What up, Brendo? Where's my Brenda? Oh, I don't have Stream Deck on. Oh, no. Yeah, I was going to do the data thing there. Got to get Stream Deck going.
I hit the other
immediately. What's up, Brendan, there? Yeah, hit that one's good enough. That's what we're going to do. But there it goes now. Bye-bye, CoreWeave. There it is, Neil. Nice trade. I know you paid for shorts. We got into this one, man, immediately. Now it is $1 plus now in the money for CoreWeave as there it goes, down to the downside. And there goes crypto, man. So, yeah, we're almost at that daily goal. We've only taken 2 trades, and they were pretty small. We should have just gone bigger in them, I guess. But hard to tell. There it goes. Nice move down for Core, for IBIT as well. There's the CoreWeave trade. Man, we got it. We got it good. We're still actually in half of this. Let me punch some out there at 45. So there it is. Now we're less than half of this CoreWeave trade. We're out of 60%. So there it is, man. What's up, Frank Jones? What's up to everybody out there, man? We've got the movers on. Neil's got on Mara as well. So this should be a good day for us. I don't know how you're doing, but we're already at almost that daily goal. So, all right, Apple's almost green. So there we go, man. The market's trying to battle back off that number. It was a better number.
Yeah, I mean, look, we said Apple was the only thing that was in Mag 7 land that was relatively strong. It's about to go green here. But I'm still going to reload Mara if we get to VWAP. I'm just going to move it to, it was at the 60s, but when we made a fresh low, sorry, it was in the 70s, and we made a fresh low, going to get more in the 60 level if we get it. The other thing worth noting, everybody, you think that you would have thought this wouldn't be the case, but gold breaking lows, GLD breaking lows and heading lower. Silver is actually weak right now, so even both of those are starting to get to the downside. Usually you're finding some strength in both of those two names. Amazon, look, there just hasn't been a pop in Amazon. So like patience, usually we'll tell you about patience being good for trading. Patience has been wrong on this stock because it just hasn't really given you much of an entry. The only green candle, you can barely even see it on AMZN. So I'm starting to think Apple joining the party could be a place to look for it to the south side. Here we go. Apple joining the party is going to make a little bit of sense here as I just hit enter. There you go. Wow, Apple. Okay, it took a few times. A little bit gun-shy, that chart. So it's trying to break back and go green. If it gets under VWAP, I'm going to look short on AAPL. I have my bid out. I want to cover if we go 10% down on Mara. And then the other name that we're looking for to hold underneath VWAP is now Palantir in the $80 level. So the pop in Palantir doesn't quite get you to 80. Maybe we'll nibble in before 80 at like 79.5 and then see if we can get this one going into VWAP on PLTR. Down 7.5 points, but it's got room to 75. for sure. But the notable thing to me, Apple trying to go green, and you've got weakness in both gold and silver. So despite the market going down, the metals not showing their usual strength.
Yeah, no. All right, just tweeting out this CoreWeave position as we go. All right, let's look for something else then, I guess, at this point. Yeah, the market, we missed the market, but, you know, we're still here. It's still early, man. It's only 9:50. But, yeah, good call on that one, breaking that pre-market low. Definitely something to look at moving forward here on the Nasdaq. If you're going to think red like we did, man, we were set dead red all day, then, yeah, we should have just been dead red right there. So that was 54.30, now down about 100 handles from those levels. We'll look to see if we can get back there. I'm surprised. That was a decent number there that came through at 9:45. So we can just check it out right here. Just go down. This is the Benzinga Pro platform. 9:45. Actually, they don't even have it on here for some strange reason right now. So it was 97 versus 90, or sorry, 47 versus 45 or so. So yeah, nice, better number. Not on here. I was just heard what Adara said. So we'll get that back once that goes on. All right, like Amazon shares again, still downside. CoreWeave still making moves, man, still 80 cents in the money, so we're happy with that one. The Qs are tanking a little bit here. We could check out another name that I've liked for a while, Robinhood. That's getting close to a buy area, in my opinion, of $37, $38. And it just bounced off as 39, straight upside right there for Robinhood right now. Down 6%, but a nice move right back into those levels. Nasdaq trying its best to get back. We are waiting to go a little more short. Like I said, probably, I think so far anyways, the trade of the day here is going to be CoreWeave, with this now down more than $1, you know, as it's continuously, I mean, it never really went against me. I mean, it went against me maybe 30 cents or so, but I don't even have any more bids, actually. I got to sort this all out. So I'm going to go over, cancel some of these offers. I guess I'm not going to get 37.85 on CoreWeave. So now we'll wait for more lows, man. 36, 37. We are at the low of the day for CRWV. IBIT, we just cashed out some more down there at 40s. We said we only had 40% left. Now we have less than 30% left. So that's going to be a good trade as well. Let's try to find out more. Well, anything else you guys are sitting in? MYSZ is a name.
Apparently, micro algo's doing that thing again.
Okay.
So
is it ripping?
Well, yeah. Give me a second.
Hopefully it's ripping anyways.
Palantir, just tried to get more in front of 80. I wasn't able to get a fill, but MLGO, for those in small cap land, well, there you go. It broke out Friday's high and is continuing to rally. So micro algo is doing its thing. Just remember, on the daily, we keep showing this every single time we pull this chart up. It's about $25. If it gets to 25, I think you're going to have some bag holders wanting to get out. The small capper that I was looking at was Mullen. Impossible. Yeah, whatever. Usually when Mullen gaps up, you're like, okay, when this thing loses VWAP, just trend short, and it's going to go all the way back to the bottom. It's 9:52. Mullen's all the way back at the bottom already. So unfortunately, we're not going to get a chance, I don't think, to short Mullen there today. Well, that kind of sucks. But here comes on the upside Mara back into VWAP and PLTR. We did just get those 80s. That break? No, it didn't break VWAP. That did not break VWAP. Let's see if it closes. You know what? I got stopped out without it breaking VWAP there, but I'll let it close the bar underneath before getting back in. Maybe we got like a happy accident that we covered that one, but if it closes underneath VWAP, we'll re-engage the short there on PLTR. Amazon's trying to make an upward move, which concerns me a heck of a lot more because this is the one that we like short the most. Unfortunately, you just never got a really good chance to get into it. And this is the first green candle of consequence since the open. And it's like 40 or 50 pennies here on Amazon. So if it's not going to get us the pop now to VWAP, might just have to short it on trend, which would be something along these lines for AMZ. And I think it's breaking trend to give us VWAP right now. But if it doesn't, then we have to jump into this one on that trend to the downside here for AMZ. 4% to the downside, it's a lot. But remember, it broke a huge level at that 180.
All right,
90, sorry, 90.
Yeah, good, tough trade there with Palantir, but good look. I mean, you got to look at names that are moving around. We finally got into the futures as well. We just took a little bit of profit there. Our best fill on the TQs just went down to 53.60. I can tell you. I have it in my 53.65 is the best fill that we have on that one. So just 15 handles, 16 handles. But now we're starting to go back up to the upside. I'm going to play this short against VWAP. So if we break here 54.21, then we're going to get out. Let's just try it, man. I mean, this is going to be a trade that we want to get into. We talked about. Again, surprised at that number. There it is there, 47.6. So that was a good one coming through. So it finally hit right there. Chicago PMI for March, Purchasing Managers Index, 47.6 versus 45. So a little better than expected right there. So we'll try the short, but we're definitely not going to get married into it. So there it is. We just got filled up there in the 90s on this. So let's get something out in the 80s if we can. We're now short a little bit. We'll take a couple handles off. Hopefully we can get a little bit more. Sorry, that's IBIT. Get a little bit more there with the T. There's what we're looking at with the TQs. I was putting some orders on IBIT because that was also thinking about going back to the upside. Let's now stay short with the market, okay? And I'm not gonna like re-short IBIT or anything up here. IBIT's starting to go. We just talked about that. I just bought a little bit through there because that was gonna be one of our early stops. We're still waiting for a stop up here near 47 and change. Possible reload. I think we'll do it a little bit here anyways on IBIT. We'll take some more shares and see if it does hold 47. But right now, most of the concern for me is going to be with the TQs. So we just got a short there. The price that we just took was 95s. So let's wait to see what happens now. It's starting to come back just a little bit. Take some out always like around 85, 86s, just because that's what we do. And then we'll wait to see if it does drop a little bit lower than that. But yeah, our stop is going to be up here. So with our short right now at 53.92s, if it breaks higher, we're looking to get stopped out around the 20 marker where VWAP is, and then we'll let it float up. And if it floats back up, great. You know, this is perfectly normal for the market. We talked about like a V-shaped recovery. So let's now see if we do have the top or if the top's going to be somewhere up here. Hey, maybe when the Nasdaq, we were just down. Remember, I was like, oh my God, we're down 2.3% or whatever it was. It's a nice battle back. You know, will it hold? We'll see. We're short for long. I don't know. But the Nasdaq right now is starting to go. So this could get stopped out. First try on the Nasdaq took a little bit of profit. Looks like the second try might be no moss here as we're starting to go a little bit higher. But we're at VWAP right now. Let's put a little bit more on.
Yeah, oh, by the way, Mara also at VWAP, so I got a reload. We got into Amazon for the first time, just sub 186. I mean, VWAP is actually at 186 half, so we're trying to get more on this pop. It did give us a chance to get out the $0.50. I want it breaking a half by a little bit before we take any profit on Amazon, but you're starting to get a little bit of a crest here. I mean, Sean just showed you the Nasdaq getting back into VWAP, so that and Mara is what we're shorting back into. But guess what is breaking out? It's Celsius making that breakout. So Celsius did break that 36 level. I'll get there in a second. I'm not going to move that order. We'll leave it in there on Amazon 185. I think I'm at like 31. But CELH, for those of you hollering like what's breaking out, oh, it didn't break 36. But it did break the high from last week, but it's not actually above 36. So this is definitely one which has squeeze potential. 19% on the short float. I'm not really looking at the long for any breakouts, not in a market that I think is overall weak, so I'm going to stay away from a breakout trade. I'd rather be involved if it breaks this 36 and then buying a dip into prior highs. That's the pattern that I would like to see. So Amazon 50 pennies in the money, but Mara, hey, why isn't Mara going back down? So a bit of a pop and then a little bit of a drop there, but Mara got to VWAP and is trying to continue here. Oddly enough, so a bit of a bid coming into this market. I don't want this taking out 1175 here. So let's not going to add unless we're back underneath VWAP, and let's let this one calm down a little bit. Amazon looking good, but Mara showing a little bit of strength here. His Bitcoin's at 82.6. We're still under 83,000, so that's good. Oh, watch out for Tesla. I just looked up, realized Tesla's really close to that 252 that we're eyeballing, and that's a strong-looking chart. Yeah, this one, that's a double bottom, higher low into a top break for Tesla. It's going to have to do something profound at that 52 to look like much of a short, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's I've sort of canceled some of the shorts. So the TQs does run upside right there into through 20s. So we get stopped out. We put a little bit more. We put a little bit back on. But realistically now, you're right at the 50-period moving average. So that's kind of what we wanted to. We wanted to stop out if it really got above VWAP. But maybe you're having a little bit of problem now. I don't know. It's a nice battle back for the market. That is for sure. One thing that we got. So stop. So that's a fail on that first short. CoreWeave went to $36, man. So that was $1. That was well, we were only short at 40. So that was $1.40.
Watch up for 32.
32.
That was, so what happened on, when it broke the IPO price for the tap on Friday,
Right.
it instantly priced at 32 for the tap. It went from 40 straight to 32,
Look at that trade.
39, then back to 32. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, well, that's going to be a significant level if it ever gets down there. So I'm just looking for the reload here again in Mara. We didn't get all in. I think it's a good thing because it's on the way up. It was all red down, and it's been 3 straight green candles on the 3-minute. So now that you're losing VWAP, we'll look for it to close on a VWAP, add one more time. Amazon did not get a fill reload on Amazon, oddly enough. As, yeah, Amazon can't seem to break 186 right now. So Amazon not really giving us anything in VWAP. VWAP's at 186.5, and I haven't got any fills above 186. But the short's starting to come right back in for us here. Yeah, Amazon looks like it wants that low of the day.
All right. I mean, we get stopped out at the top, but we still hold. So we actually 40% back in. Let's just wait to see what winds up happening right there as we do hold, and it does come back in. It's still not the greatest short. We'd like this to really come back in. I mean, some of our first fills were here in the 60s, right? And so, yeah, we're still in the short there. We talked about that CoreWeave move, so let's just keep shorting pops is what I believe to be accurate right now. Okay, just quickly, let's just have a quick look at Tesla. So Tesla 250 right there, right? And so Neil just talked about that coming through. Again, I know you were on Palantir earlier. Let me just check what's happening with Nvidia, and then we'll go over to Adara. So yeah, Nvidia, nice little 105 and change pop right there. So yeah, so far so good there for Nvidia. A lot of these names holding the lows. So yeah, all right. Futures might be a problem. Remember, we just covered some there. We're still going to wait for 54.80 up here where the 200 period is. That's generally a spot that we like to get short. So if that happens, we're going to be sitting there and taking a few more shares short here in the market. And then IBIT as well, back up to 47 right now for IBIT is going to be an area for us. So we'll short that again and looking to get out if it does break. But yeah, pretty up and down early, right? Almost a complete V-shaped recovery there in the futures. So, all right, let's go back over to Adara and find out what she's up to.
I'm actually seeing a lot of these small cap movers here on watch on the scanner here. SBSW, MLGO, NVTS, HUT, EH, all really strong here. Let's talk here about this market. Nice bounce here in the S&P 500, now down only 1%. Nasdaq, though, still down almost 2% despite this push to the upside. It's worth noting here, the S&P 500 is poised for its worst monthly return since September 2022. Then we had the Nasdaq apparently hitting its lowest levels since mid-September 2024. So lots of weakness still that we're trying to bounce. CRWV bouncing nicely off the low of 36, almost on the dot. This is the second day that CoreWeave is publicly traded following its IPO that came through on Friday. Then we have a lot of weakness here in some of these healthcare names, particularly Moderna and Novavax. We had Peter Marks resigning here from his position in the FDA. He oversaw a lot of these vaccines, and now there's some worry about approval. Last but not least, CELH. This one got an upgrade this morning. Actually, near day's highs, a lot of names very far from that point. So keep an eye on CELH potentially. Continuing to the upside. Back to you.
Yeah, Celsius looking incredibly strong. Remember, and that's a hefty squeeze name as well. 19% short float. There's been a lot of people looking for that one to break out. I'll go to a daily chart. We'll go to a daily chart on it later. I'm looking for a dip on CELH after it broke that high from last week. But at this point, we're getting into VWAP here on Amazon. Want to reload on a fail of VWAP and a similar thing for Mars. So we're pressing into it right now. But CELH is dipping. Thank you so much, Randy. Appreciate you. Oh, you got to be kidding me. All right, so while we're eyeballing Amazon, still have it up. It's getting to VWAP right now. Looks like that chance at the dip in CLH could have just come and potentially gone. All right, we'll just focus on them shorts. So we're still pulling into VWAP on Amazon. Similar thing happening, but we've already gotten the fills in Mara. Got the topping tail candle at VWAP, shorted it back in here at 62. If we break the local high, I'll jump out. I want to have a quick trigger. If we get wicked out, I want to be back in if we immediately fail VWAP. The initial short good. Now we're on the salvo number 2, and it's looking obviously a little bit stronger. Market's still down 1.7%, and you can stay on trend with them trying to stop out at this lower high. The key is, can you get back in if they do try to run some of those stops? So CLH going. Gold is actually making a bit of a recovery, so it looks like that was a good opportunity to buy the lows. It just didn't fill the gap in that GLD. That's the only problem.
IBIT makes that move again. Oh, thanks, Randy. IBIT made that move again off 47. So we wrote down 47.50 to 48 for IBIT. So yeah, good covers. We got stopped out there. Oh no, sorry. We went a little bit short, got a little bit out, and then we took some more at 47, then got stopped out right there for 2 cents. So pretty okay with it. I do think that some of these tops maybe just got ran a little bit there. So we are going to, you know, we're short more here on the futures. I just got back into this IBIT trade only because now we have this top. So let's just see if that top did get run. And if it did, fine. Let's see if it gives it, if it runs us one more time. 47, that exact top was 10s. So I'm not going to mess around with that. So 47, if we break that level, let's just get out. We're back into IBIT right now, looking for a little bit more, especially if we get back into the mid 47s, 47.05, something like that. We'll double up our position, and then we'll just see for the push down, because it's a nice move back to VWAP. I mean, you know, that's what VWAP's there for. You know, volume weighted average price, it's like an indicator that we'll use to go over under with. So right now the futures do come right back up to it, hit it, then fade out, right? I mean, we got stopped out when it broke through the 200 period here on IBIT, right there, or sorry, the 50 period on the market, and then we just took another short rate in there. So now it's kind of trying to come back a bit. We're only short here at 27s. Looks like we just bounced off VWAP, so let's put a bid there at 54.20, which, you know, it's coming back in, so we'll put something there, get a little bit out if it does fall, and then realistically, this 54 looks like a good out, so we're already waiting there. Maybe we get that, and then down lower is where we look now for
everything.
The futures. Yeah, everything. I mean, everything retraced. No, but it's true. Like, everything retraced back up. So if you like the short, it's a reload spot. And if you get, if it goes against you again, then maybe you think, I'm not thinking long, but
no. The only minor concern would be, like, at least from the low at 940, I don't know, like 947, whatever the heck that is, you're still making higher highs on a 3-minute anyways. You're making higher lows and higher highs, but that just means then just every single time until we break back above VWAP, at least for Amazon here, I want to short it at better prices each time. If it's going to do that little bit of a churn, Mara has suddenly just, like, it's going sideways off VWAP, which is good. It's no longer going up, but all these wicks above VWAP, you're holding on a line. So that gets pretty easy. Like, if it breaks the top out, if it breaks down, start taking some profit. And CELH, this is just like at the 36 now. So remember, looking for a fail break of 36, dip by, that's trending up into VWAP. So you have at least some strength going over in CELH. I just don't believe in this long right now. So I'm going back on over. We had Palantir once, but we just make sure. I had to, every time I type in Palantir, it's like, don't do NY, don't do NY. So I made sure I got it right this time. This is looking real strong. We shorted that one under VWAP, and unlike the other two we're in, it's trending higher. This looks distinctly different for almost everything I'm looking at, but it has yet to get into, it's not even close to Friday's lows, like support turning into resistance. So give this one some time. Like, either this reverts trend in a big way, or it's got another $2 before it even sniffs Friday's lows to short off of that level. So Palantir, we're going to leave that one be at least a little bit here and keep working with Amazon and Mara. MLGO, incredibly strong, everybody. But remember,
MLGO,
yeah. Just try to remember, it's up 36%, or big day, of course. Look at the pullbacks it did on Friday, like 19.5 to 15, and then 20 to 17. Like, it's very capable of, you know, taking your profit away really quickly. Always want to make sure you bank on things like this.
Here's a smart man right here. What's up, Willis Addison? Bought the dip. Now is sending his mom some flowers. So that's, I mean, that's what it's all about right there. So yeah, that's a win. We always say that, man. Take your profits and buy something nice, and especially if it's for somebody else. So what's up to Willis Addison? Good job on that one. The market's tough enough. Mom, I bought the dip. SPY 547s. Flowers on the way. So there it is. You know, what's up, Willis? Great job there, making me think that I should send something to my mom's as well. But there it is. Okay, so just for CoreWeave, you know, it's nice to have one winning trade, right? So there goes CoreWeave right there to the downside. We're pretty much out of everything now. Actually, I say that, but we still have 20%. So we'll wait on that. IBIT continues to move higher. There it is. Stop out finally at the high of the day. We wanted to wait for that. So there goes Bitcoin. Congratulations. Nice move up there for Bitcoin, and a great move for the market as we've retraced higher. So we're just, again, these were the levels that we sort of wanted to, oh no, what am I talking about? That's IBIT. We didn't even write down any levels for the TQQs on here. But we were looking at the 200 period. That's always what we try to do. So that's 54.80. We said we had a bigger order sitting up here at 54.80. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to see if we can get that short back in. We've been getting short, so again, short there and out at VWAP. But now, okay, now you're really starting to extend out. I mean,
I'm out. We broke VWAP on Amazon. You've broken out of the consolidation on Mara. So at this point, you got to go back to the highs. Like, it was working underneath, but now you're, like you said, higher highs, higher lows on the way through. You're going to have to wait for a re-entry point. And that either means pull back into pre-market lows, 188, get back underneath VWAP, and look for a trend reversal. Mara was a little bit more gentle in that last little push, but you saw it go sideways off this level here at 1160. 61, 62, right at VWAP, but now you're continuing that trend up. I'm just going to slap. We have 2 points for the trend line now. I'd like it to be 3 ideally off those lows and then look for a reversion trade. Not much happening on Tesla yet. And then it was CELH. We're looking for a long, actually, in CLH off of VWAP. But I'm going to eyeball both of those trades. Either Mara breaks the trend here, gets under VWAP, we'll jump back into the short, or Amazon. Just looking to get back in on weakness under VWAP, or pre-market lows was this 188 level that broke down. You're so far away from 90, I feel like that's an improbability that we'll get that short. But that was the original level that we liked on Amazon, was an over-under at the 190. I've seen a lot of people talk about ARM. The only problem with ARM, and a lot of times on a day like today, you might be thinking about ARM for a potential trade. Its volume is still relatively weak, and I just don't like the way that it's been trading recently. So I'm staying away from it, but I'll tell you on my personal account, I got a stink bid on ARM. We mentioned that after it broke down after that low, I'm stink bidding this one in front of $90, looking to pick it up in the long term. I thought maybe outside chance we get it today, but not looking like it with the market bouncing back.
No, that is for sure. Okay, so right now, obviously, both of us not having too much success here going short on anything, but we'll wait. I mean, you have that idea. It comes through, and that's that. We'll see if we can have some winners on for you. I mean, the only winner that I've had on so far today, although we had some early wins, but have given it back on the stock, like IBIT, we're now red on, obviously, as that goes to the upside. We're red on the TQs, but we're just like we're waiting for this trade. I mean, when you're trading the futures, it's never really the story until it's completely closed. And right now, we'll wait to see what winds up happening here with the futures. And then, of course, the big trade. I believe this is going to be my only green name here is CoreWeave, and that's been a nice move to the downside. So that's going to be a good one. So far, so good on that. We're still checking in on our JP Morgan. I mean, we didn't do anything good there at the top for JPM. I mean, we bought this name at 232. It went all the way to 250. Not even 254, I don't think, for JP Morgan. Oh, it did go 254. That was the top, right? So all the way to 254, then just straight downside. But you're kind of coming in. So this is giving me a little bit of, peace of mind at least. 237 looks like it might be a good low for JP Morgan. That's exactly where we bounced today. So if you're going to look back and say, like, maybe there were some levels there back 10 days ago on the 21st is kind of where we got this party started to the upside for JP Morgan. And if you just look to see where we are today, there's 237 again. So maybe the $3, I mean, I guess it's $3. Yeah, 237.30 up to 24. Yeah. So that $3 move back up to the upside there, we can play off of JP Morgan if it does come back in. Now, it doesn't hit that exact low. It's 236.50 or so. But if this comes back to 237 there today, that could be a long, definitely that we could get behind, But right now, the futures are trying to hold this level. So I don't know, like we just had a nice move back into the 40s again for the TQs, getting us close to flat. Don't want to take anything flat, but we should have, I was up here at 54.85s. Now we're at 54.80s, so the 200 period, like we almost got to fill. Let's try to be patient and not run a little bit lower here because like you guys have seen with my trades, Neil's trades, all of our trades here today, it's been a rough morning. So let's just let it settle down and then we'll go from there. So, all right, so that's what I'm doing, waiting for a little bit more short on the TQs. I don't want to be stubborn here. It's a nice bounce back. The Nasdaq is still down. The ES is down 0.8. I still feeling short, still underneath. That's the 200 period right there. I like the stock. The trend still seems to be down on the futures. We could check out what's going on. You mentioned that gold was coming back a little bit, so that would be something. Yeah, so yeah, it's still okay. Well, it's still up now, but now there's the bounce back. So if there's going to be a flight now to gold, I mean, maybe people will start getting nervous about equity again, which should hopefully bring down the futures. And I say hope. I mean, I don't want them to go down. But there's CoreWeave again, another out at 36.90. Maybe we get this fill again. Let's put a bid now at 36.20 and see if CoreWeave will really work for us.
So you're getting a test of the trend here, at least on Mara, from what I can tell. So jumped out. We went 1 for 2 on Mara, but the second one, it didn't get any profit takes on. But you're getting a topping tail to the pre-market low. If we can close underneath the trend, I'd look for the reversal there. Essentially just looking for the same thing on Amazon. Higher lows being put in, higher highs. It needs to break trend. I mean, this is still, it's down 3%. You're under pre-market lows. You're underneath resistance at 190 on Amazon, which we talked about on the daily. Like, it's still presenting like a pretty solid short underneath that support. And that, along with, I mean, Tesla's another example. Here, I'll show you guys the black chart for Tesla. Tesla right at that 252 level and trying to break trend. But I'm sticking with the two names that we liked first, which is Amazon and Mara. I don't want to get too far away from those bad boys. And there's a lot of, might take a lot of patience, because you could stair step it all the way and not reverse until 188, or you could reverse it right here under VWAP. And I'm going to be in one of these two, the first one to make that kind of reverse of that trend, and we're going to jump back into it to the south side. I'm not giving up. We were 0.5% from that bottom. We were like 2% down on the Nasdaq. We're now 1.5% down on the Nasdaq. So we've traveled, but we haven't come that far to give up the notion of the short, for me at least. Let's go to Adara.
Let's keep an eye here in PCVX. This is actually not a small cap gapper. It is about a $4.2 billion company, down about 50%, but bouncing nicely off the lows. This morning, they provided some updates here on their pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. Clearly not well received here by the market. So PCVX, very much to the downside, but trying to bounce off of that $30 low. Back to you.
We are going to see volatility through Thursday. That is for sure. I'm going to see volatility for a while. Thanks, Darren, everybody there in the chat for that. All right, Rivian. Tesla's been relatively strong. I mean, well, we'll look at Tesla in a minute, but Rivian, man, up now, only down 1%, but yeah, 1170 to 1235. Like, good for you, Rivian. I mean, that's a really solid move. Looking to see maybe why or where we could have bought that. I don't know. I mean, again, like just trying to cherry pick some levels. We had that gap fill from 1150 to 12 that one day. So that, looked like it tried to fill that and got rejected. So now if you're going to look at the top side, I was going to say, this 1270 or so could be an area there for RIVN if you're looking to get something out. If you have bottom picked that, but that could be another level. Also coming into 1250, you want to look at some of those levels. But if you're here for the long term, you're here for the long term, and maybe Rivian, you are thinking, is that home run? I don't know. Right there, 248.50. Again, great level there. We wrote down 253 for Tesla. Unfortunately, we weren't there when that was happening, but it does go as high as 252. Now with the Fade City is right on. Rack City, Rack City, yo. Right here with the TQs. We'll see what winds up happening now as that's starting to come back in. We take one fill at 30s. Now we'll see if we can get something a little bit lower than that. I mean, with VWAP at 20, we might as well put something down there at 20. I'm about 5%. We're hoping for a move, right? So we're hoping for a move down. Like I said, obviously, you guys have been watching us. A little bit of a rough morning holding on to these shorts. We'll see if we can get back into them, though. And I'm still holding on to TQs. So maybe this goes, maybe it doesn't. Meta was a name that retraced all the way, man. It's 560 now. That's bad. Like we were just had a huge move. You want to talk about, look at this chart on Meta. You're actually not going to see too much more of a better rejection than this. Like it goes right to the 50 period. So we went from 577, everybody thought they missed it, all the way up to 650, right? I mean, I thought I missed it. And then it goes boom, straight back down, just like so fast, straight back down into the downside. So if you're looking to pick up Meta, like this name, if you like it, this is the level. I don't want to do anything now, but this is like, if you've been thinking about Meta, this is a good level. Like we are just down right there. That's 650. Let's just say 647 to 560, like $80 in 3 days. for Meta, just filling the gap, coming right back in. And again, like this should not be really too many tariff-related issues here. The only consumer product that they're selling are those glasses and the Oculus, and they're not even a big revenue part for them. So, yeah, man, again, more worries coming in. Oh, boy, Neil, here we go, man. We get it on the TQs. We're still staying strong with these shorts, man, and, you know, that's why I tried to talk it up to you guys. We're looking for more shares short. We got it. Let's get to the downside now. CoreWeave goes right back into that club. You know, the club that we like, the dollar club right there. So there goes CoreWeave right back into 50s, man. At least we've got this one here today for you. What's up with you now?
I just got back into, well, we got ourselves back into MARA, and Amazon just breaking the trend as we speak. I'm going to start with this one because it's about to set up right now. 187, can't make it up. It just curled at 187 on an absolute line and finally breaking the trend underneath VWAP. Want to see it close. If it doesn't close under VWAP, then the short's at 187. If it does close this bar breaking the trend, then I want to short it right at or just underneath VWAP, and we'll see which one we're able to grab. Knock on wood here. Mara also breaking trend. It's above VWAP, but underneath that pre-market low, which was at 1180 or so. So we got back into this at 74. I actually would like to be able to add to this in the mid-70s and giving it to the prior bar high. Let's see if we can't get back into the bottom. Instead, these are the two we waited for. Got back into Mara, and we're really close to getting in on AMZN. Jay Dawson, haven't given up on CELH Celsius. They caught an upgrade, and they're battling the 36 level, so it's failing the 36 break, but it's not really pulling back. So it's gone over 36 multiple times without actually continuing this breakout, but there hasn't been a pullback on trend to be able to get you back into VWAP here. So I'm not jumping in at the high. I said I would not take this one as a break of that high of the day. I wanted to buy a dip if we're gonna get it at all in CELH. Let's go, I believe, to the small cap recap. Midday.
Here is the IWM, the Russell 2000, and this one basically looking pretty similar to what we saw with the rest of the market. We drop here off the open, then we pop nicely off the lows, a little bit of a bottoming tail candle in the case of the Russell 2000, and then we start to reject again once we get to that consolidation low area pre-market. So let's see here if IWM can turn green. As of right now, still down about 1.5%. MLGO here has really been one of the superstar small caps as of late. Micro Algo here, no new catalyst on this one. Whitney Hologram Cloud did get some more shares of this company and increased their stake as of Thursday, but nothing new since then. MLGO, though, does have a 4.7 million share float, and of that float, roughly 40% is sold short. Then here we have ICCT, no news on iCore Connect. This one is another one that's run pretty frequently in the past. Penny stock trading around 60 cents with a float of about 1 million shares. Last but not least, this one, another notable float, Newton Golf Company, NWTG. Anyways, it's worth noting here with Newton that they have, from what I was seeing, a 51,000 share float, so very small float, announcing here their results for fiscal 2024 and Q4 2024. Those results were quite positive, guys. Back to you.
Newton Golf.
We've been, look, man, we got a big one on right here. I don't know if it's going to crash or not, but the futures, let's just go. Like, we can get that. We can get this back. Well, we have already gotten it, but here, okay. There it is, right back down in again. So there it is. There's the fill at the 50-period moving average. We're still here, man. It's $1 for CRWV. It's 40 handles. Let's see if we can get a little bit more, though, of course, on this futures play. And we'll wait to see where we can go. I am bidding nothing right now. So get down, says Sharif. 53.80, we like that one. So let's go again. Let's go. Thank you. Come again to the downside right here. 53.85s, man. Hopefully there's some traders in the building, and we can see if this market will go back down into the gates of hell one more time. But I don't know, man. We're starting to cover. So we're actually now out of, I would say, about 35% of this trade right there. So, you know, stopped out there, turned us red on the name. But again, the futures, we stay with it. We stay with that theory of the market collapsing, and we'll wait to see if that is the case. You know, bouncing off 54, I'm not super worried about this as a psychological level. I'm just looking here that it's the 50-period moving average. So the fact that the futures bounced off 19,000, to me, that would be a much closer psychological level than 1908. So we'll see if we want to fall. We are bidding we're bidding 93s right now, actually. So there's the fill at 93, man. Oh boy, Neil, here we go, man. Now we're finally starting to get back into the swing of things as the market going back in. So good thing we stayed with our shorts right there, and let's see where we can go from here. Oh, what I wanted to look at though before I throw back to you was just like, I was looking at my own quote board right here. Look at this. The only names that I have about 30 names on here. The only ones that are positive, and of course it's going to be very, very heavily weighted to tech names, as that's what I look at primarily. XOM, Oxy, Apple, Texas Instruments, the only names
Texas
green
Instruments.
today.
Well, that one doesn't make.
Yeah, exactly. So TXN green, and then we have not too bad there. IBIT trying to hold forward as well. Only now down 1% for IBIT. Uber, Starbucks, JP Morgan, all with that 1%. Let's go flip over to the other side of things. Now we have Mara down 7%, right? So, which is interesting. Obviously, it's making more moves than crypto itself. Tesla down 6% as well. The Nasdaq down, that's the Nasdaq, but that's down 2%. Go Nasdaq. Here we go, baby. Shopify, welcome to the world of Nasdaq as well. Down 6%. Nvidia down 5%. Affirm down 5%. Donkey down 4.5%. Broadcom down 5%. Palantir down 4%. And man, oh man, has it been a little bit of a topsy-turvy day with the Nasdaq now starting to give it up just a little bit, trying to make that move back in. So yeah, man, pretty nice day overall today if you've been short, but the longs have had opportunities as well. So shout out to everybody that's kind of back and forth here today. Thanks for being with us. Hit that like, hit the subscribe. We're here every single day.
Absolutely, and guess who's back, everybody? It is Trade the Pool, because we all know the saying, big opportunity comes with big risk. But what if that wasn't true anymore? Trade the Pool is redefining what risk means for traders. No more risking your life savings to prove yourself in the market. They give you access to company capital, up to $200,000 to trade real stocks, no CFDs, and your downside is limited to a single one-time fee that starts at just $47. That means no blowing up your personal account. You get to trade with serious buying power, all while knowing your loss is capped. Trade the Pool now offers an unlimited time during the evaluation. You get the freedom to trade your way with no time pressure. Visit tradethepool.com and see how far your $47 can take you. Shout out to them. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. And shout out to Trade the Pool. So we didn't get the reversion we wanted. We got the reversion that happened. Well, we got Mara and we got Intel as they both broke trend. We did not get Amazon. I almost said AMD. I'm going to get a couple of covers in front of VWAP on Intel, but Amazon did elude us as that broke trend, did not get filled, and you're headed right back into the low. So a bit of a miss on a swing and miss, trying to grab that break in the trend. Mara did, went to add to it, haven't been able to get it, but the higher low right here at 1157.58, this was where it bounced and had that big consolidation, which took us out eventually. So third time in, if we bounce off that level again, I want to be able to jump out and then short off of those highs. So for now, so far so good, getting back into some of those shorts, but I did not get Amazon, unfortunately. So these two working, but Amazon's going to be the one that'll end up haunting me. Tesla loses a bit, everybody, so I think Tesla loses a bit. It also did a reversion right back to these lows. I think anything that holds under VWAP at this point, going to consider that short trade. And the only thing I was looking long, CLH, first time today, trying to pull back into VWAP. So if it can do what it's done before, either just go sideways off VWAP or dip, short-term downtrend breaks, then I think Celsius still looks okay for a long trade at 6%. But on the way down, got to show patience. Just like you're patient on the way up for reversion, you want to do the same thing to the downside on something like a CELH. So I'm on the bid now in front of VWAP on Intel, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get that Amazon, but I'm not taking this one off my fourth chart. I'm leaving it up. Got to make sure we can find ourselves a trade here, because I believe Amazon's a short, possibly for multiple days underneath this 190 level. It's just like Sean said with Meta. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you could have had this bid. Well, the bid's gone now, and all that's left on Amazon is this August low, which, that feels like one of those load 'em up levels, but that's the thing about a load 'em up level. It never quite feels that way when it gets there. It just looks like it before it does.
All right. I'm just sorting. I'm actually looking at my broker account. I want to figure out what my most profitable stock is this month. Okay, because we're just putting some more damage on the board right now as we go back into the gates of hell. There's CoreWeave. CoreWeave was my the number one stock on Friday, and there it goes again today. It will be number one today as well. So there goes CoreWeave, man. Back-to-back number ones here on the show, CoreWeave. And again, that's what we do, man. As a prop floor, we trade names that are moving around. So CoreWeave, number one P&L on Friday, number one P&L again here today, CoreWeave. So, I mean, I'm glad we're trading it. Obviously, as I look at my numbers, we'll be up on that, but that's only one day. I'm really just trying to find out what's going on with me and the futures. I know it's going to be number one. I just wanted to figure out how much it is because, you know, we get stopped out and I'm like, oh, man, and then things happen. So it's like just being patient. I'm going to go back and definitely have some looks on all of that to figure that out. What's up, Erie Pages? Yeah, if you're making $2,000 every day, then you're making $2,000 more than pretty much everybody around here. That's a great day. Like $2,000 a day? Like, come on. You know, I don't know if you're saying that about Neil or myself or you or whatever, but if you're able to do that, I was just saying, like, try to stay humble. That's a great income no matter what economy you're in, I feel like. Anyways, everyone's going to have different ideas of what they need to make and all that, but, like, don't get... If anyone's making, you have to think about it. Like, I've already talked about day trading as a job. I definitely do not recommend it, but as a hobby and as something on the side, great. So that's where if it's your full-time job, $2,000 a day, you know, holler at that. That is fantastic. 280 trading days in the month, right? So if you can do that, if you made $1,000 a day, you know, you're at $500,000 or plus with $2,000. So great job there.
Where you live and your
that's what I'm saying. Everyone's going to have, different expenses.
Well, I remember when we opened our office and we were told to open it somewhere else, and we're like, we didn't want to move there. But then you did the math, and it's like, it probably would have made a heck of a lot of sense because at the end of the day, everyone is going to be different. Like, you could live in one place in Canada and you make a couple $100 a day and you'll be absolutely laughing if you live far enough up north. But at the end of the day, everyone just has to trade their plan of action. That's what it comes down to. Like, worry about that first, and then make good decisions, and the rest is going to come. As the market's bouncing upside here, just shift back into the market because we're bouncing. Like I said, I want to add tomorrow if we can get back into that high, and I want to get over to Intel. Like I said, took some profit out in front of VWAP. You're trending back up. If we break that high, I'm out. Do not want to let it make a fresh high. I just realized I didn't have a stop on Intel. I'm going to rectify that. Well, you know what? You're supposed to put stop orders in. I'm supposed to. I use stop orders. Well, I use them. I just realized I actually didn't hit enter on it. So I have a stop in. If it makes a fresh high of the day, I'm going to be out. And then, like I said, the only long I've been looking at has been Celsius, and it's doing a little bit of a curl here. So if it closes, this will be on trend, but not from the low, from VWAP. So if you look at it, it's holding trend like barely here on Celsius. Just want it to close, showing a little bit more strength, and then we'll take the long, give it to VWAP, and see if it shows continuation. Why do we like Celsius long? Well, A, it's up when the market's down. B, this breakout from last week's highs at 35.60, which is where we're at right now. So it's at that breakout price. Obviously, 19% short float means it can go, and you got to break out tops for shorts to actually care. And the 200 periods right here as well for Celsius. So I want it to close above, this next bar above that 35.6, and then look for the long. First long I'll have. Knock on wood, because now that I say that, it's going to end up closing underneath this trend line, and I won't get it.
All right, did I hear a call for Adara? No? Okay, no, that's okay.
Maybe.
Oh, I did. Okay, good. All right, then let's go. Okay, so first of all, before we go over there, just real quick, man, we just got out some more TQs there at 80s, and then again at 54 as we try to break a little bit higher. And yeah, TQQ's my number one stock this month right now. And, you know, I'm proud to tell you everything that obviously I've been showing you this month has resulted in myself being green. I hope that you guys are like that there as we try to just give it to you as we trade. So we don't show our statements, but you can always ask us what it's looking like. And yeah, so far so good. One of my better months happening right now in March. So congratulations if you're having it as well. It's been a little bit of a violent one, that's for sure. We'll look to see if we can do even better though in April as we get not stopped out. We took some outs there on the TQs. Stop out is not until up here. We're going to stay short as we've now gotten out of about 60% of the trade. So I'd like to have gotten out more on the south side. We'll see if we can do that. All right, Adara, it's 10:33. What's up?
Not only do we have crypto, I also want to mention here Apple. So AAPL and Watch, Ming-Chi Kuo, who's a noted supply chain analyst, recently opining quite a lot on Apple, said that this report that Apple's looking to buy $1 billion worth of Nvidia's GB300, Ming-Chi Kuo said that if this is true, it's actually not likely to move the needle for Apple. Why? Because he said the scale of the order is way too small, especially compared to reported purchases by Meta. And then also he said that because the GB300 mass shipments aren't going to start till the second half of 2026, it's going to be way far down the line. And the groups that Apple's reportedly working with, Dell and Supermicro, are not top-tier assemblers. So basically saying that Apple, even if it is getting these NVIDIA GB300s, might not necessarily be positively impacted by that purchase. So keep an eye on AAPL. But also, it's always worth talking here about crypto. Here is BTC. This is a 15-minute chart for BTC, bouncing nicely here off these lows. A little bit of a double bottom here on that 81,250 level. Right now, though, rejecting this area just above 83.5. Let's take a look at the daily chart for comparison. Looking to break this 3-day losing streak, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all red for BTC. Let's see if they're able to turn things around. Keep an eye here on some other names. Ethereum up about 1.3% right now above that 1800 level. XRP down about 1.33%. Solana actually up 2%. Doge down about 1.33%. Cardano down almost 2%. So really mixed performance here across all of these crypto names, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. So it looks like it was right to get out of VWAP on Intel. We took 2/3 out VWAP. It just broke prior bar high. That's always going to be, if it's a mean reversion trade, which it was in this particular case. So there's your mean revert. It closes under. Actually didn't get it to the second bar, but it doesn't really matter. Give it to the prior bar high. Once it breaks out, wait for the next opportunity. That's either going to be double top. Technically, you call it a triple top if you want.
All right,
the other thing you're remembering is this is maybe 10 cents from now, a triple bottom from Friday on Intel at 2260. So either one of those levels is going to work for me to re-engage that short. Got to be able to get out when the getting is good, and that'll be the same thing if we break the pre-market low or prior pre-market low on MAR. That's 11.8. I got in 74s, looking to add to it underneath that bottom and see if we can't get back into the downside. Market's still having a bit of an inside day, but you haven't broken, like you haven't even tested the highs on the Nasdaq just yet, so there's a lot of room to be able to get in here for sure. Celsius hasn't shown much strength on the way back sideways. It gets right at that prior level on the daily without showing a heck of a lot of strength just yet. So if we can break this little consolidation, I'm still looking long on this. But the only, like I said, it's the only name I'm really looking for a long. Just wanted to break out this trend, and then we can get back into, or get into it for the first time here on CELH Celsius, the big short float name.
Yeah, okay. Although it's been a little bit of a rough day here, as you guys can see, we do want you to scan that QR code below. That is for sure to start your journey with eSignal. Get that going ASAP. It's eSignal. 1 month free. All the data, all the best markets, any market you want to trade actually is all entitlement based. So you can get over there, join the fun with eSignal, and make sure you do it daily. Check in with them because you never know. Overnight you had Japan down 4+%, right? Leading into what's happening there today. Back check, back test, anything you want, man. Raw, as you just saw right there, a wide array of tools available for eSignal. Connect over 50+ brokers and join the eSignal revolution today. And you can do it for free by scanning that QR code. Trade smarter, not harder. So, yeah, man. Look, I've only traded 3 names today, and they haven't been super great. But what we're doing right now is battling the hell back. And I mean, right now, we just took another short right there on the futures. We let it go all the way back up. But now, because it's not that it's getting too late, it's only 10:40, but at the end of the day, you know, okay, here we go. Trying to scalp out and salvage this day. I know it's like, again, I can, you know, we can all see the numbers. We can all see the trades that Neil and I have been put on. Obviously, it hasn't been a huge day. But at the end of the day, all this name has to do now is get back about back here to 54.10 or so, and we'll be up on the Qs. We already have, we have a monster trade here in CoreWeave. We talked about that earlier as well. This is still $1 in the money. Then the only other trade that we made on today was IBIT, and I feel pretty good about getting out of that. So, you know, we're able to sort of hold our losses a little tighter to our chest, so we're happy with that. Okay, here we go. But now here comes the TQs, man. We are battling all the way back, man. This is going to be a big, hopefully, knock on wood, a big rebound here for the shorts. Let's see if we can keep it going now. Today's day is still fine. Obviously, we're right where we need to be. We're not where we were early. We were up about a day that we were looking to make. Now we're down about a day. So, you know, kind of up and down, and this is what we do. That's why I just wanted to look. You know, sometimes you got to figure out what the day is and relate it to the rest of your month and things like that. So, as I just said, man, good month here. It's been tough. It's been tough to find winners, especially if you're looking short today because of where the market is. You had the initial move, then you had one other move right here, and maybe we have one now, but starting to feel like things are switching a little bit here, right? I mean, the market, like, is Tesla above 250 again? No. So, okay, so that's still holding out. And then Nvidia, I don't think that's getting, okay. Everything's just where you kind of expect it to be. Like, I'm hoping for something to really move here, which is why we just go back to the futures. Yeah, we talked about this, man. By far, like, this is by far my #1 stock this month. And we've really been trading it really well. So let's just see if we can get a little bit lower right now for this. CoreWeave still continues to go. It's Sector Watch. It's Adara.
We're also going to talk here about some news first. So we do have apparently some comments coming up from Chinese state media. China. Wait, what? Sorry about that, guys. China, Japan, and South Korea, according to Chinese state media, have apparently reached a consensus that all three sides will jointly respond to the U.S. tariffs. So apparently a coalition here, according to Chinese state media, between China, Japan, and South Korea to respond to these tariffs coming from the U.S. Speaking of tariffs, Fitch ratings agency also saying that U.S. tariffs are going to be having a negative, uneven credit impact on some of these global automakers. Let's take a look here at the market. So lots of weakness, especially if you're talking big tech. Apple relatively flat today, but Nvidia and Broadcom nicely right here in electronic technology. Microsoft, Meta, Netflix, all to the downside in tech services. Retail trade very strong with the notable exception of Amazon at about 4%, and consumer durables here being dragged to the downside by TSLA. Also some weakness in health technology, consumer services with the notable exception of McDonald's, producer manufacturing, and finance. Now, energy minerals having some nice strength here. XOM, CVX, COP all to the upside. Communications pretty green here across the board. Health services, UNH up about 1%, and consumer non-durables to the upside. Utilities as well, with the exception of CEG. CEG is worth noting too, because of its role in data centers. It's actually closely traded to some of these AI plays as well. So if they're at the downside, looks like CEG is as well. But generally, if you're not looking at tech, you might be able to find some strength in this market, guys. Back to you.
Up from Moderna. You might not be able to find it in mRNA, but shout out to, I just had it up. Where'd it go, Fabian? Shout out to Fabian, who I just lost my chat. I'll get it up in a quick little second because we have a poll up, not a poll, we have a question in the chat. What would you like to see from the show? Remember, it is only a subscriber's chat. So if you want to answer, if you want to jump in, ask questions, hey, this stock is moving, what's going on over here? Or do you see a setup on this? Or what are your thoughts on this particular play? You have to be in the chat to be able to do that, and you've got to be a subscriber to be in the chat. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. I just jumped back into, I'm already in Mara, but we jumped back into it a second time off of this 1180 high. And Amazon is now holding, it might break this trend to the upside. We'll see. I mean, it's actually riding trend since the pre-market. There was one break. I got out when it broke VWAP, but then confirmed these lower highs. So it's a bit of a pressure point here for Amazon, which I'm still favoring to the south side no questions asked. I want to favor the short here, but it needs to close this and start breaking lower. We did get Mara back in, watching over. We're at 83, but Mara did another topping tail off that 1175, so jumped in, wanted to VWAP, and then we'll work on, if it breaks this 1155, I think it's floodgates that open up on Mara. Remember, on a higher time frame, I'm still reminded, why is this still on Amazon? Not sure why. Hit enter again. Oh, looks like it doesn't want to show it. Mara, which I'm just going to have to do this way. Flat bottom break on Mara, and as long as it's underneath 12, I'm favoring shorts.
This goes to show.
That's the idea, everybody. Here's your 12 even. There's your break underneath, and we want that short the whole way through. As long as it's underneath that price, I'm favoring the short. I think there's lots of room into the downside on MARA.
All right, here we go, guys. Yeah, good call there on Moderna. I mean, on our watches, I was like, what down? We got a FDA head leaving there, so stepping down. So thinking that might change the way that they operate over there. All right, so the future just came back in. I was actually bidding 50, I mean, believe it or not, it doesn't really matter, but I was bidding 54.05s. We got as low as 54.07s. Let's see if we can come back in here again for the futures. We're now positive on the TQQ, so we'll go props up for that one. We will go over in just a couple minutes what's for lunch. I'm going to load up that as well. That, you know, I think it's been a pretty successful look here at what's for lunch. You know what, let's just do it right now as well. Maybe the futures will continue to make the move down. All right, on Monday, March 31st, not bad. You might be hearing us say this a lot, but if you are a big fan of chicken dinner winners, then maybe you are a big fan of grilled Greek chicken. Today was, yeah, why not, right? With seasoned vegetables and Greek salad on this side with some rice. So that might be okay today for lunch. Grilled Greek chicken, rice, vegetables, and salad. That's what's for lunch. So, all right. There we go, man. That's what's for lunch. I'm going to open this with Google Docs so I can have it for you every single day. We'll do it around this time, what is going down for lunch. Let us know what you guys are having, of course, for lunch there in the chat as well. All right. Look, I'm going to take in another piece right now because, like I said, we had battled all day for this. And, you know, so far, so good. Besides IBIT, we will be positive today. Obviously, we're going to be negative on IBIT. We're going to go 2 for 3 with CoreWeave being a big one, the biggest of big ones right there. And then I still think that the TQs could turn out to be an absolute monster. It's just we're still waiting for this to fall back in there. We did support this short a couple of times. It's going to be a big one there. So let's go, man. Hopefully make some more downside moves on the future. So that's really what I've been doing over here. So yeah, we'll be down, but you know, again, going 2 for 3 is fine. I just need this Qs to settle down over here. So I don't know. I know you've been in a few names. How's your day going over there?
Let me just get my charts back up. I just had all my charts
I'll
for a
go.
second time.
What's up, Randy?
It is what it is. Here, you just give me a couple more.
Yeah. All
just give me
good.
my futures charts.
So, Randy, I do see that we do have the electric. It's still not ready yet, though, down there, is it?
I
it's
sent
done
you the
now.
picture. It was
Oh, no, but we were missing a part. Oh, no, I parked right beside it. Yeah, okay. So maybe it's about that time to look at that. I still want to get that electric golf. We talked about that. So hopefully, I know. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to figure something out. No, it's not out yet. Maybe out in Europe. We talked about that when we were out with ICE. The ID4, yeah. There's also the ID7 that's released this year as well. So that's Volkswagen. Let's check out Volkswagen. VWAGY right there now. Xiaomi. Ride around in some Chinese. Would I even fit in a Chinese car? All right, down 4% right now is Volkswagen as that's starting to break lower as well. So there goes Volkswagen to the downside. So yeah, that's not working out too well for them. But Randy, we got a nice bump up in Rivian today. I know you talked a little bit. Well, it's still down 3%. No, but I mean, still considering, right, where this market was today. We had Tesla downside, Rivian up to 1230, now trying to bounce off 12, holding an area there of concern. So we'll see Rivian. And then Tesla hasn't really been too violent today, to be honest with you. Up and down about $5. Started the day there in and around 248, goes down to 243 and change, makes a move back to 253, so 252, you know, $8 top to bottom, and now we're in the middle of the range. So let's wait to see, man. It looks like Tesla's wagging the tail now, because if that can go back up, this market will really, really start to scream, I think, anyways. Tesla and NVIDIA trying to hold the key, and then Apple was the only big tech name. That and TSM were the longs today. Look at Apple. Apple breaking the top right now, so...
All right, there we go.
I have no intel on Intel, no. But yeah, Intel's been...
I can show you.
I think Neil was in that one.
We're into... One time I was into Intel. It's actually... It has a shot to go green, but this is the kind of what you had to do on the way up. You either had the early shorts on a host of names, and you could just go down the line. You broke bottoms. And I saw a good point in the chat there. Someone was saying it's hard to short when things are at the low at their ATR. So like if you're ever at the bottom in a full ATR, you can get follow through, don't get me wrong, but if you don't get that initial pop and fade or that initial breakdown, it's a little trickier on the way up. Intel, as far as I'm concerned, it's still underneath Friday's bottom, so I'm waiting for an entry. Like I want the entries to look like this, like clean in, and then maybe you get some continuation. If it does another break of trend, I'm gonna take another shot at it, and you know we're still in Mara. This one actually broke-ish. The pre-market support level, and then kind of came back in there. So I'm going to take another shot at it. It just bounced off VWAP. If we do another fade like that where you get a wick high, then I'm entering on that kind of a wick top. But then you throw in like Nvidia, which was a one short under VWAP. Load up, don't crash. There we go. A one short under VWAP on the way back. Okay, well, I wicked out, could have jumped back in for the win, but if I short that same level, you're getting blown out again. But NVIDIA is still under the volume-weighted average price. Like, this looks to me like it's still a short. I just don't like the choppiness that it has. And then I said this, where's my daily here for NVIDIA, and one of the reasons I'm not in it, again, you're basically just hanging on to that low from March 11th, like back and forth, back and forth. So it's not as clean. Mara is... Well, I like Mara, as I said, it's still underneath that big bottom break. But I think it's got a little bit more downside push and more weakness underneath. The longer it holds under this level, the better I think it bodes for this weakness overall. And you throw in the fact that IBIT is showing you a little bit of strength here. Did I load this one up? Like IBIT, look at the strength in IBIT, and then I pull up Mara, and I see relative weakness in Mara. So this is the one that I want to keep reloading until it says otherwise. And it's at 1180, that's the key level here. So trying to get it high 60s, low 70s, maybe mid 70s as well. A scalp to VWAP, reload, rinse and repeat, because I think we can still see that low of the day.
All right. Let's just, okay, here we go. So just looking at the TQs, I was trying to actually short a little bit more up here, so we'll wait to see what is going on. I just see... Okay, let's go over to Adara and go over Money Talks.
Here is the US dollar. This one here, certainly, this is on the daily chart, still in that downward move for the most part off of that kind of rounded top situation here. Lower highs, lower lows, but we did get a little bit of a curve here for the US dollar as of late. Now, though, we did have this slight push here last week to start the week, trying to push back to the upside. Gave up pretty much all of that move on Thursday that we had on Wednesday to the upside, now continuing to trip lower. It's really been a little bit consolidative as of late. So let's see if we're able to have a green day and take out yesterday's, or I guess Friday's high story of 104.5. Currently trading here around 104.25, but bouncing nicely here off these intraday lows of 103.75. It's an incredibly light day when it comes to economic data. We did get this Chicago PMI a little higher than expected at 10:30. Dallas Fed manufacturing lower than expected. Tomorrow we get JOLTS job openings, and on Friday we're going to get NFP non-farm payrolls. But we're going to take a moment now before we send you back to the guys to thank our friends at ProfitX. Are you looking for unbeatable odds on the biggest games? Switch to ProfitX's peer-to-peer platform, where you set the price. There's no more one-size-fits-all lines. It's like crafting your own picking strategy with real-time trading tools. Secure the best odds, track the action, and watch your plays come alive. Experience total control at every step. ProfitX Sports Playing Reimagined. Users can use code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. Back to you.
Shout out to Profit X. Finally put one on the winning board for that, because I made 2 homer bets on the Jays on opening day because I was going to be at the game, and sometimes it's just a little more fun that way. I'm being real. But then I actually legitimately believed that Michigan State was going to get to. I didn't think they were going to make the Final Four, but we put money on them to at least get to the Elite Eight.
Down.
Unfortunately, they're looking a little bit weaker. Daniel, just to answer your question in the chat, did I buy anything? I think you asked today. No, in my long term. No. I'm waiting very patiently for the next salvo. I think we have room to go on a lot of names. So I'm waiting until next round of earnings. We already bought this. For me, I already bought this quarter, so all the things that I liked, I picked up. The only exception is I have a stink bid on ARM. That's all. And that's not even close to filling. Knock on wood, that could happen this week. You never really know. So Amazon did break holding the trend upside, or holding this trend, but very, very barely. So I think a press into VWAP is going to have to make sense. And then just going back over to Intel, Intel makes another top and a lower high. So same entry plan as before. And if it breaks this prior top here, we're going to enter or exit the short trade. So you're getting another lower high still underneath this prior support, which is turning into resistance on Intel. So I can pick it up in the 40s, give it into the top, and see if we can't get a VWAP retracement a second time through here on Intel. What else you guys got going on? Love Sales says they bought AMZ at $100 a share today. Well, I can only assume that's in the money for you because everything is bouncing off of these lows. Good luck. I'm not a huge AMD fan, but at the end of the day, its PE is no longer as forward PE, I should say. Its forward PE is starting to look pretty reasonable. So on valuation basis, no longer crazy on AMD. Just not a huge fan of them in the general sense. But, I'm more of an Nvidia, and I think there's going to be an opportunity next quarter for Nvidia. If I see an 8 in front of Nvidia, that's 100% a buy for me.
Yeah, okay, Tony. Yeah, I was wondering because you asked about the floor being in the back. Yeah, I've already told you this is a tough game. I mean, like I said, we're an open book. You guys can ask us how the month's been, how our days have been, anything like that, and we'll tell you honestly, and then you'll be able to see and be able to tell what's going on, right? It's tough. It's tough. But you got to stick in your zone and stick in your lane, and that's why we keep talking about trade the pool. We keep talking about real trading. Give it a shot. You don't have to be, you could trade like virtually no shares, or you could trade a lot of shares, or you could trade no shares. You could sit on your hands. You could trade futures. You could trade anything you want, but make sure that at the end of the day, that's why I looked at the account. You want to make sure that where you're trading the right names and the right things and the right attitude and everything, and just keep positive. And yeah, and that is why the floor behind us is completely empty. I mean, if it was easier, it would be full. So we also changed a little bit of the way we do things around here as well, as there's more traders now being hired remotely. But at the end of the day, it is a very, very tough game. And those stats, like I said, 95 to 100% of traders that try to do this as a job will wind up failing. So just remember that. But you found the right spot, and it's about learning and getting better. I mean, if you think about it, if we have 10,000 people watching, those are the 10,000 people that are going to learn more. Hopefully ask us questions. Like we said, that's why we have that there. What would you like to see from the show? Answer that. It's not public with the answers, so it's not like we're getting those questions. We'll review them and see how we could do better for everybody, right? I mean, some of the questions that we had before was, try to trade more of the futures. And so I've done that, and it's actually, I want to thank you guys for that, right? Trade more of the futures, and now all of a sudden this becomes a very, very hot topic around here. And then CRWV, CoreWeave, get into names that are actionable. We broke the low there. This has only had 1 day of trading, but we still kind of follow the same rule. When you break that low, we went short. And that worked out as well. So, I didn't come in today thinking that CoreWeave would be my #1 trade, but it is, and a lot of us don't come in any day with too many expectations other than where do we think the market's going to go, and you try to trade the best and try to trade according to that. So that's all I've been doing here, and it's really been working, focusing on specific styles, specific names, and specific profit targets, and it's been good. Like I just said, I've had probably my best month of the year. I know it's early, but was been March, and I really prefer the volatility. It's not going to be true for everybody around here. Some people might have had a great April, not a great March. Some people might have had back-to-back great months. You never know. That's why it's do yourself. At the end of the day, it's just about looking down and being honest, right? And yeah, so far today, like I said, we were green we lost on IBIT. So what we lost on IBIT is what we're trying to make up on CoreWeave. We'll wind up losing a little bit more on IBIT because of the fact that we had more shares. Wrong stock. On IBIT that we did on CoreWeave. And I'm actually kind of glad that we wound up getting out of there. And then the TQs, like I was mentioning before, we were green on them when it was down here into 54. And we're still fine, looking to reload. We will be red so far on it. But there was a question about why sometimes our price keeps changing. If I get into a position right now, then obviously it will adjust my average price. And it adjusts on the way in and on the way out. So all you can do is look at these and that's why I said, best to always ask us, you know, how many symbols, what we're trading, what we're looking at, how our day's going, because to follow on here, we understand this, we're trying to get better, but it's tough to follow our positions. So I've only been stopped at once of the TQs and it was right there. And then now short, and back in. So we're gonna be fine on this, but I am holding it for low. So hopefully if we get out now, we'll be roughly flat on it, but we're looking for 54 flats on this name, and then that will put a much bigger target on the short, and that's what I think is gonna have happen. We get going sometimes on the midday as some of this talk goes, right, with the futures, so let's wait to see.
Well, especially with the fact that, you know, at this point, since the open, the Nasdaq is sort of trending up, but as you keep pointing out, you're still a lot of weakness and down 1.7%. Like if a relief rally at this point doesn't take out the hump, like is it actually going to go? There was a good question in the chat here that I just wanted to, where was it? Oh, there it is, like VWAP setting. So we have like so the big thing for the volume weighted average price, at least when you're looking at it, is when do you start collecting that data, right? Like it's just gonna, like it's a very simplistic indicator, but my data starts at 6 a.m. So if I have some small cap stock up that has done tons of shares in the pre-market and it did a bunch before 6 a.m., then my VWAP might be different from yours. But in a general sense, it'll be exactly the same on any big cap name. And if it's different, then I'm not sure why. But we get that question a lot. And usually any difference in our volume weighted average price of yours is just when you start the data and when you start counting the bars and start counting volume. Amazon is pressing into volume weighted average price as we speak. Want to see it either fail there or look at 187. That's where I stopped out on Amazon. Well, actually, no, it was 186.75.
What IPO?
And then, yeah, we get back to 187. That's where I want to play the resistance. Was there an IPO today?
Apparently. What was that symbol?
Let's go to Adara.
New IPO here, NMAX. This apparently was priced as a couple days ago. They closed a $75 million IPO. This is how NMAX is currently traded. Looks like it's about halted right now. Opening here at $14 even. Right now here around $16.72. NMAX is the ticker. Newsmax. Back to you.
That's so funny. We go maximum damage put on CoreWeave on Friday. We talked about that being the #1 stock, and then we completely ignored the other IPO that was hitting there today. So there it is. Thanks, Adam, for your kind comments there. I don't know if those are great words or not, but they're just words that come from the heart. So that is what it is. All right, man, it's 11 o'clock. You want to wrap? Oh, you're okay. Our position's already off the board. So I'm just short CoreWeave, pretty much out. 5% left of that one, and about half of our TQs looking to reload. All right, good show, Neil, man. We'll get you guys. Yeah, go ahead. I got to get ready to go.
This actually isn't that big of an IPO, which is one of the reasons I haven't even done 1 million shares worth of volume. So I'd put it in like that category of like lower float runners, maybe not as liquid as I almost said a CarMax. You guys know what I meant. Yeah, Newsmax. Just be careful with it. It doesn't seem like it's incredibly liquid here. And the TAP, the theoretical auction price, is $18 after a 1672 halt. So it's indicating an open to the upside. I'd just be a little bit careful trading this in terms of liquidity. If levels break, you might get a lot of slippers. Let's go on over to the midday where the boys, I'm sure, are going to be looking at Newsmax. TARIFF and Joe, go get them.
See ya.
Boom! What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade During the Midday. That right there is your boy, Joey Options. And I'm Sharif.
No.
Nah. We're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the